Good evening and welcome once again to Tinker Tailor Solder Fry here on the mighty Loading Ready Live Video Entertainment Network. My name is Ian Horner and joining me today is...
Beej.
Hey, Beej. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
It's fun. I like being here when you work on these things.
Yeah, well, this is going to be hopefully the last time we break this guy out, because we've been we've had quite a history with this
Pounding
Dreamcast.
away,
yeah. Trying to force a hard drive inside of here with success. We managed to get, I think, quite a fairly clean mod for our SD card.
I was looking at that and like, that's unusual.
Yeah, and we've done some bad, dirty things to the bottom of this with our aborted IDE conversion.
That's what heat shrink is for.
Yeah, well, I think we're just going to cut that right off and just capped on tape right over top of everything.
All right, okay.
We'll find out what we're actually doing, because today we finally have the parts to finish it, and I've been holding off on trying to get these for a while. Mm-hmm. First off, I finally found, after going through several different options, so there are a number of methods that you can get an IDE connector into your Dreamcast.
All right.
When I first started this project, there were two ways. One was to solder directly onto the board yourself all those connectors.
Right.
That went...
It's 40 pins.
Badly for... Well, it's not even that, but they're not in the correct way, so you got to weave them all in and out. It's really bad, and that didn't work well. The second version...
That's what that cable coming out the bottom is?
That's what it is. Mm-hmm. That was our attempt.
That was one of the two methods.
And I think, something didn't connect properly, and I thought, you know what, this is not worth potentially completely destroying the board on it. Mm-hmm. Method two.
I think your mic is just rubbing on your...
Is it still rubbing there? Okay.
Yeah. Try mounting it to your apron, maybe.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
That might make things better. Maybe.
I mean, who knows, really, ultimately.
Okay, so that's there. Second method was a board designed by a Russian gentleman that are almost never in stock. He opens up his orders and they're
away.
sold out immediately, and they also cost $200, which is more than I'd like to spend.
That's fair.
So couldn't do that. Then I found someone who makes a similar board out of Colombia. Yeah, weird, right?
Yeah, that is, of all places.
So I messaged them, and unfortunately, they never got back to me. So I thought, well, I'm never going to get that. And then I found Dragon City, a guy out of France.
All right.
Who makes this little chip, and
let's get a close-up of that on the camera.
Yeah, it's going to require some
Will the
work.
overhead show it off good?
Yeah, I think the overhead will probably show it off better here. There we go. So this little device, and you'll be seeing this in the overhead a few times, we're going to be soldering a connector to this part, which will connect directly to the GD-ROM connector inside the Dreamcast.
All right.
And then we just need to solder on a standard IDE connector, which is going to be much easier.
Yes.
Yeah, because...
Yeah. Oh, and it's got LEDs built in, so you can actually see if it's getting the right...
No, those are...
Oh, that's the power.
Those are pads that you can pull out, and the reason for that is that they include...
I love the little logo, his little picture in the corner.
Yeah, he's kind of a guy from, oh god, I can't remember his name now, from Shenmue.
Okay.
Ryo, that's it.
Yeah.
I love these. But they include as well a clock chip, because when you've got the GD-ROM removed, there's normally a clock associated with that, and that gets sent to the rest of the Dreamcast to synchronize audio.
Okay.
So rather than try and run a rather long wire, you actually just hook up the clock chip, and that provides the right frequency directly, which is good. But because we're removing the GD-ROM drive, we need somehow to boot into Dreamshell. We can't do that because normally it's on the CD.
Right.
But we can't just have it come off a hard drive because the BIOS doesn't know how to work a hard drive by itself.
Right.
Which means we need to solder in another BIOS chip.
What the hell is... It's all... Oh, it's in a keeper. Okay,
Yes.
I thought there's like... I've never seen a part like that before.
Why is it all effy and broken?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to be doing.
And so the Dreamshell BIOS, or this is just a new BIOS that says look for this in whatever direction?
We'll look for the Dreamshell on either the SD card or on the drive. And I think we might have to go to the SD card just because apparently you can store settings better there.
Oh, cool.
So we'll find out as we go along.
by the time you're done, how much of this Dreamcast will be not stock?
I estimate we'll have at least a half pound of extra lead in here. I mean, in terms of stock configurations, I mean, everything's an add-on.
Like the motherboard is still the same.
Yeah, the motherboard will be heavily modded.
Okay. I mean, when you say heavily modded, it's like you're not taking out, you haven't been swapping out like the CPU and the RAM with other things. You haven't been like all the connectors and stuff for the controllers. Those are all still stock. The power and everything else is still stock. So a lot of the stuff is still stock. It's just that you're going to replace the BIOS chip. You're going to remove the GD-ROM drive, and you've added in this SD card connector, which was something that didn't exist at all.
Yeah, it's wired directly to the serial port internally.
So it's like it's 20% different.
It's like the ship of Theseus if Theseus ended up with a motorboat at the end of it.
Exactly.
Rather like he's actually, because you're not ending up with the same thing at the end. You actually are getting a better thing at the end.
Yeah.
Laserbeak's Fury beat us to the punch there completely. But I do want to speak to Cheeto Jack and Sector 88, talking about the replica disk drive extension board for the Apple Pippin. Oh, wow. That's something that would be interesting to get a hold of.
So we also did mail time today.
Oh, did we?
Yes. And so there are a few things that are waiting here. And unfortunately, I didn't write down the names of the people who did this, but it will all be in mail time.
Okay, well.
So you had a gift given to you.
Did I?
Yes.
This is...
I retied it.
I love that mail time is like this, this combination of Christmas and customs.
Well, you know, the prison has to open your mail before you can receive it.
Exactly.
Right? So, yeah.
Otherwise, the inmates just completely... I don't know why I'm undoing the shibari like this to start with. And then, of course, as we know from what Data taught us, we have to rip into it.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is this?
You needed some more tools.
From the Gentleman's Hardware. Ooh. That's a fine little melody hammer boy.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
And it is
unscrews
yes.
to reveal a big old screwdriver.
Yeah.
And then another screwdriver.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, a third tinier screwdriver. Does it keep going? Yes, it does. Wow.
So, and thank you.
Each screwdriver is half the size as the one before it.
Thank you to the person who included that in mail time.
Yes.
That Ian now has actually opened it. You got to see that. And I had forgotten to write your name on the parcel, but we do acknowledge it all in mail time, so you'll be able to find out who sent it to you later.
Big thanks so much. Yeah.
I had been cleaned up everything and didn't think my way through. Also, you had something waiting. So when you fix it...
Okay. Oh, wow, yes! A Dreamcast keyboard.
Yes.
This is good because as I mentioned, I think when we chatted about this, this one might end up getting used to interface directly with the Naomi.
Oh, cool.
For more typing of the dead action there.
That's exceptional. All right.
Yes, thank you so much.
So you have a Dreamcast keyboard that you're gonna mod to work on Naomi?
Well, I've got two personal Dreamcast keyboards.
Yeah, we've played a lot of typing the dead before.
So why a Dreamcast? Is a Dreamcast keyboard particularly good for the Naomi?
They're essentially the same hardware, but they just don't have these connectors on the Naomi. So what the plan is to do is open it up and then just extend the new cable out.
To fit the Naomi, yeah.
To go directly into the Naomi's.
But then you'll know that the key mapping and everything is exactly the same.
Exactly, it's ready for it too.
Yeah. And we're not done yet.
Oh.
An anonymous person sent us a whole bunch of stuff.
What?
And one of the things they sent was this, so you have a game to test it on later.
What? Wet Tricks?
Wet Tricks Plus.
That is... Wow.
Yeah.
I've never played this before.
Graham and I were agog with the design of the case.
I'm so in love with the design of this case.
Yeah, it's too bad it's bust up, but...
Yeah, that's, I mean...
You know how that happens when you're mailing stuff.
Collector stuff, too.
Yeah, but really, just a really cool looking case, too.
A beautiful case, and of course, I'm sure...
Just a weird puzzle game that's like available in 3 languages.
It's VGA compatible, which is important.
Oh, yeah.
We want everything to be VGA compatible these days.
Yeah, so I can remove that as well. And the last thing, you probably knew this was coming. I have to probably do it I have to be careful about how I do this because there, of course, are addresses on the flaps.
Oh, no.
But You knew this was coming.
Yes, but not exactly what. This is a Monoprice Select Mini 3D printer.
There is the. We already read this.
Yeah,
if
but
you-
we'll read it out again here.
Sure.
Because why not? So, dear Loading Ready Run, here, have a 3D printer. I know I said to Graham on Twitter that I was trying to sell it, but
you can skip parts of that.
A few years ago, Adam stopped me and planned. Oh,
Yeah.
and
So here it is.
yeah, hopefully you make some cool props with it. It's a great custom tabletop minis for minis too. If you have any questions about how to get printing, contact me on Twitter at the person's address. Thanks to Megan.
Hey Cam, we can make more things for you to paint.
I'm so glad we finally got this. Thank
And
you
a whole bunch of
so
filament.
much, Nova Girl. I'm really excited about this because
We can print so many pink things.
I don't know if we have time to print off a shift lever before Lermans, but that was going to be the first thing I planned to do.
I don't
with
think
this.
you're going to have time, but unless you want to try to do it like in the evenings.
I don't even know. I don't have time to.
That's fair.
figure it out
That's fair.
Between now and then,
All right.
I'm busy because we got to. First off, we've got to finish this, and then we've got to do all of tomorrow and all of Saturday.
Yeah.
So let's get into this. I think what we're going to want to do first is let's get this taken care of. So thankfully, they provide instructions on how to actually get the thing working, but they're all in French, so I'm going to have to translate those for myself. Let's see. TR.
Kind of like a good news, bad news situation there.
Yeah. Oh, Chrome, you really want me to use you?
Yeah, I updated my Gmail app the other day, and it was like, hey, why don't you use Chrome to open that web link? I'm like, I've never ever wanted to do that, and you keep bugging me to do that. Every time they update, they reset that, and I'm like, it's not ever gonna happen, my dude.
Wow.
Never gonna happen.
Chrome just, to Internet Explorers, like, I learned it from watching you.
Okay, so here's a fiddly little piece. Lots of little lines that need to get attached to these things.
Oh wow.
We are not going to be doing that in the conventional manner,
Okay.
which is to say we're not going to be doing that one by one. The suggested manner for this, I believe, that's the...
Just put in a whole bunch of solder and then just stick it down, right?
Kind of, actually.
Okay.
The conventional manner is to solder using the rake method. Just get it down there and then just kind of flux it up and then just rake solder across it until everything fits into the pieces.
Holy shit.
Which means we're going to need to set up our soldering iron.
Okay.
Now, which one do I want to use? Because one of them has a nice thin tip and the other does not. Can you pass me...
What would you like?
Actually, I'm afraid I'm going to need some water if you don't mind.
Yeah, I can totally do that.
Thank you. I'm going to use this soldering iron because
You need water for what?
for a sponge.
Oh, to wet your sponge?
Yep.
Got there.
We'll just use this as the holder too, even though we're not going to be using it as a thing, just because I want the space available.
Yeah. So I wet that sponge
Yeah,
for you?
please. Just give it a little...
Little dampness. I can do that.
Great.
Okay, so it's just, the water's just sitting on top of the sponge.
Put it in the little holder thing.
I'm trying.
How sponges are supposed to work.
It's literally just floating on top of the sponge. Oh my god. It was very weird. It was like I'd poured it onto a piece of metal and it was just sitting there.
Just push the water into the sponge.
Kind of, yeah, use whatever you want at this point. At this point, I don't give a shit.
There we go.
Okay.
Soak it in.
I wouldn't have thought that the sponge would be the point of failure
Yeah.
on this.
This early.
We replaced Ian's sponge with something painted with that hydrophobic, that paint you can get where the water just beads on top and doesn't like soak in. Yeah.
I
Paint.
kind of want to paint a sponge with that now.
Yeah.
I just dip a sponge in some lacquer cleaner. Not lacquer cleaner. Fingernail remover.
Acetone?
Acetone, yes.
Won't it just dissolve?
Fingernail remover. What?
What kind of a life do you lead on the side? You keep saying that you work for the government, and I'm starting to be a little concerned.
That's all I can say, Beach. All I can tell you. I work for the government. All right, let's get this heating up here. 390 is apparently what my solder melts at. So get that up in there. This is, which of these solders is the finest end?
Has just like the absolute thinnest.
Yeah, because I was going to buy a roll of some thinner solder today, but you could only buy it by the pound in a big, thick roll that will probably, again, also last me the rest of my life.
Right.
Very long.
Or until we all get lead poisoning. Yeah.
$75.
Jesus.
I probably want a half roll of that,
Yeah.
and also I can probably buy it somewhere else
All right.
more or less, but I do try to support our local economies.
Sure.
At the
I mean,
best.
well, if there's like a electronics supply depot here in town, they don't have a lot of customers on the reg, I imagine.
Best
So.
I can. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to. I also bought some flux
Ah.
and used that for fixing up my my laptop when I was dealing with that at home. Wow, why have I gone 30 years of my life without soldering with flux
Yeah?
before? It's magic.
I have the flux I have at home is like a jelly, I think. You just dip your parts in it and then pull it out.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're definitely going to brush some flux onto the contacts here, and then onto here as well. Make contact, and then just rake some solder across.
So do you have to when you brush that stuff on, do you brush it on and then daub it off a bit so it just leaves like a very thin? Because the idea of flux is that it's etching the metal ever so slightly.
Yeah, it's there to make make the solder adhere better specifically to the metal and try to avoid the.
It prevents it from oxidizing too, right?
I would imagine. Well, if you cover it fully and if the solder gets fully on every part of it, then the solder is probably what's going to keep it from oxidizing because it should be completely full at that point.
So let's get in there once we're all heated up. You
Right.
know what?
I'm fine.
I didn't touch you, did I?
No, you didn't come near me. I just realized though, leaning on the table near that is a bad idea for me.
So let's just make sure. Oh yeah,
Damn it.
So goodbye, everybody.
we're definitely hot enough there.
Oh, Heather, I'm so sorry.
What have you done to Heather now?
He briefly touched the going offline part, which means Axan's gonna have a
Oh, yep.
fit. Yeah,
I'll fix it.
that's okay. We'll worry about that later.
Heather knows how to deal with that.
Yeah.
Huh. This is a bad bottle.
Is it starting to leak?
No,
Or-
it just the
No.
thing came off.
Oh.
I gotta touch something now.
Do you want something to jam it back in there, like the awl?
I was just gonna grab my needle nose pliers. There you are.
Man, I'm so glad we bought that.
That being
The cabinet, yeah.
Yeah.
The cabinet's great. Flux also helps with heat transfer. Oh, that's handy. So basically, it's just this all-in-one wonder goo.
it's magic. Magic goo. All right. I'm actually a little bit scared, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, like you bought this. You didn't buy two of these boards. You bought just the one.
They are. So when I was saying earlier that the Russian man, his solution was $200.
Yeah.
This was in the 40s, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
This is very affordable.
It also requires that you do a lot of this stuff yourself.
Yes. Which is, I don't want to say unfortunate because, hey,
mean-
I do a show about this kind of thing.
Absolutely. But sometimes there's like these things of, I keep seeing people throw up the thing saying Ian has to do a whole bunch of SMD solder, which I'm assuming is referring to how thin the
Just surface mounting, really.
yeah. Okay, so I thought it referred to specifically how the tines are that far apart from each other, but that they're very, very narrow. But if that's not what that means, that's not what that means, and that's fine.
So, let's see here. Got some stick going on with my fingers. What I am going to do is...
Oh, I just realized. Sorry, go ahead, Paul.
I was gonna say either your marks are wrong or the camera moved or something, because that's not in the.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
nowhere
that's
near
not
in
going to be
shot.
that's not going to be in shot yet.
Well, we can adjust that when we move to the thing again.
So let's move over. Bring me up on camera. Okay, yes, the table I guess did move quite a bit, but I can move this one. Boop, boop. There we go. All right, about there. Yeah, that seems good. Okay,
So this is just basically like a breakout board, eh?
that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
It's just translated. It just makes it so you don't have to do the weird crossover
Do
stuff
you-
when you're with the IDE cable. Eh?
Do you want the work surface?
Not for this bit.
You're not going to lose any solder onto the table.
This should be fine.
Okay, we're not going to burn the table.
Not this time.
Okay.
All right.
That
So
overhead works real
There's
good.
a small.
That's
there,
fine.
okay.
No,
How
Ian, you
about
do
now?
what you need
How
to
about
do.
now? Is
I've
that-
got
oh, there we go.
angle on this, so let me just get angle. Oh, for Christ's sake! Let me just get an angle on this. We have so much zoom. Sorry for the camera jiggle.
Right.
Okay, so you put a tiny bit of solder on, and then you just slowly rake it off, and hope that you're keeping enough on the. I guess not hoping, but the idea is to keep it on a certain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, this is no problem whatsoever.
Oh, good.
Well, oh yeah, no,
Overhead shot, looking good.
Yeah.
still looking good.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just my head
It
still?
is just
just-
your head, and
Just
that's
your head.
that's fine.
It's fine. We have another good shot.
Yeah.
Good. What I think we need to do is just hook a GoPro up to my head.
Oh yeah. Just put a GoPro on
E
everyone's
and I
head.
view.
On everybody's head.
This is kind of fun, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that when you get to a certain point, it'll be like I can't. It's you can't quite get them all down where you need it. You've gotten as much solder as you can, so now you just leave like a larger blob and maybe try to cut it or something. Or
I think I've actually got it.
no kidding.
Is it okay if the plastic is going a little brown?
Oh yeah, that's just flux getting
okay.
dirty.
I thought that might be it.
The heat from the
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so I don't think I've got any bad traces there.
How would you tell? Are you gonna have to tone them all out, or
I'm gonna try that, but I need where was my bag of tools?
I will try to find your bag of tools.
Thank you, because there's a magnifying glass in there, and I'll use that to check my work. Because, yeah.
Your bag of tools was moved onto the floor
Okay,
for reasons unknown.
that's fine. Probably because it was interfering with the vinyl player.
Or with all the magic cards. Everything interferes with magic cards in this place.
There you are. So let's get it our third hand. Which has upon it a magnifying glass. Yeah, I can't see any shorts,
Okay.
which leads me to believe it's probably okay. I'll just choose a few pins at random to see if they work.
I mean, at this point, how would you go back? Do you just try to suck all the solid, you warm it up and suck it all off and start again?
I'm
or-
not worried about going back.
That's what I figured.
What I'm worried about is maybe missing one or two.
Right.
But just because of the way this is going, I think it's just pretty much a an easy method. I'm glad some people are there, though, agreeing that the drag method is the correct way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good. So let's just have a look at that pin there.
So the cabinet you guys have seen in the background, we just bought that from, I think from Costco. It was $300, and it was funny thing is, for its size and for the price, $300 Canadian. It's the largest tool cabinet I've seen of that size, with a good surface. All the greebly rivets and crap that are all around it that make it look like so industrial and so hardcore. It's just like, that's kind of unnecessary. I'm sure they're structural as well, but it's kind of unnecessary to the look of it. We didn't really go for that, because we're like, we need to stay together. But it looks really good on camera too, so that's kind of nice. And the big, the work surface, it's a meter across. So it's larger than a meter across, I believe. But we have so much to work on up top. Just having a place to work, we've used it as the, for Tinker Tailor when we needed a kitchen counter to actually chop stuff at. Because we didn't want to sit down and do it. So we're like, we can stand up and do it because it's the perfect height to chop on. It's got nice big brakes on the wheels as well, so it doesn't move around while you're trying to do that. Meltalar asks me, Dear Dr. Beej, are you just drinking tap water? If so, what do you think of carbonated water? I don't like carbonated water.
Oh no.
No. I've tried several times. I've even tried LaCroix and all those other ones that are here's this wonderful,
Here's the fancy kind of carbonated water.
that is slightly flavored and stuff, and I'm like, ooh, and then I try it, and I bought even President's Choice makes years ago they made a lemon and a lime flavored one, because I used to drink lots of I put lemon juice or lime juice into straight water and drink that. So I tried their just pre-mixed carbonated whatever, and I'm like, I don't like the flavor of carbonic acid. I like it when it's sweetened.
This is the other side you're doing now?
Yep.
So that was your test was successful there?
I'm going to call it successful, yes.
Is that different from it actually being successful?
I think there's a level of frustration here. Not like Ian's getting mad at this, but just it's we're so close to being to the end that maybe it's everything looks correct, and so therefore, rather than dicking around with, checking every single trace or whatever, it's it all looks like it's coming together. Every trace looks good. As far as you can tell, all the solder seems to be moving along as it's supposed to. The flux is doing its job. I'm sure it's just at this point, it's gonna come together.
Yeah, just magically. What I've discovered by this this rake method of soldering is that it's good to slow your roll.
Just to give you enough time to kind of drag it along with the tip of the iron.
Yep.
It's really neat to watch because it looks like mercury just crawling along the surface of.
Well, I mean, it's literally the same principle. It's molten metal.
Yeah.
Right?
It seems like this capillary action just kind of being drawn along the surface of something else.
And then it's just using the little bit of surface tension or whatever to
Yeah,
hold it on
and
the.
that's why the flux is so good. Is it makes this so easy to do.
So now you just have a little too much? Is that what's going on
Yeah.
now? Okay.
Just gonna try and pull that off.
Sid previously headache needs to reflow their Oracle of Seasons cartridge.
Whoa!
So have fun with that.
Reflow is fun. That's something I'll try maybe one day, but
You've got a toaster oven.
yeah, we do. I just have to build a reflow circuit for it, right? Wow, that went surprisingly well.
Yeah, that's great.
Everything looks again to be all connected. And
So now the idea is that now instead of having to connect 40 teeny little wires, you're connecting much nicer. Yeah, it's a much easier soldering job.
exactly. And now the other well, here's the thing. Rather than wiring directly to these, why don't we just use
Oh, wait.
the included right angle connector?
Oh, that's great.
That also requires a little bit of soldering, but again, not as much as it would have before.
And this is that pin through kind of thing now. So You just line it up so it works properly.
Yeah, we'll just need to remove one of the pins, the key pin.
Ah, yeah.
But want to make sure I'm
Triple check it?
Yeah, want to make sure I'm removing the right pin. Also,
I feel like if you have to make the key pin, it's less useful as a key pin.
Mm-hmm. Just bend the key pin out of the way instead of breaking it, just in case you pick the wrong pin, I guess. Either that or, mark it with a Sharpie or something.
All right, ID connector on the top, which means, so we want to remove pin 20, which is the bottom pin. So there's four underneath the key, and we want
The one in position 4.
Yep, this one here.
Yeah.
How's the best way to remove that? That's the one thing they don't tell you in the instructions.
Can you yank it out from the back?
Well, it's the bottom pin, so I'd have to go through the second layer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Let's try just putting some pressure on it. See if it moves on its own. Where I could probably have a better tool for that.
So those of you familiar with IDE, it's a 40-pin layout. 2 rows of 20.
Oh yeah.
One of those pins is missing because that's meant to act as the key. So they fill in that hole generally. So when you try to plug something in,
I have a cable for an example.
that would be excellent actually for this.
Have a look at this. So if we go back to the overhead, you'll see here that one of those holes is blocked off.
Yeah. That's to ensure that you make it makes it into the right spot when you plug it in.
And
Usually also the connector itself is keyed on top.
Yeah, this cable does not have a keyed connector, but yeah, sometimes they'll have a little piece of plastic that pops out of the top there.
It did that thing again. There we go.
Yeah, I was just adjusting.
That's all right. Anyway, yes, it does. It did come out,
Hooray.
or rather, it started to move, which means it's now up against another key or another pin, which we should probably also.
You're just going to chop it out at this point?
No, I'm going to do it right, nice and clean. I'm going to move both pins.
Oh, they come out that easily?
Yep.
Okay.
So that's the pin we keep. That's the pin we drop. Keep you around. Always save your excess pieces because you never know when you'll need something for another project.
Yeah. Or if you accidentally pull the wrong pin out and you're like, I need to put this back in.
Shoot.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Use that to.
A person built this, so a person can unbuild it and put it back together the way they want.
So let's double test here. This one is missing a pin. Let's make sure it lines up correctly and doesn't freak out at me. And by freak out, I mean not go in the hole. Okay, goes through the hole nicely. Let's test the other end with a cable to make sure it plugs in correctly. Plugs in correctly. Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Right, now to get these pieces, which means brushing flux on that again. How are we doing time-wise?
Milk.
Milked.
Mm-hmm.
You are remembering it?
I hope so.
Okay. remember.
I don't
Remember the milk.
of September. Yeah.
The Georgie pudding and pie.
I wouldn't look at my watch to see what time it is because we have a clock in the room, but the thing went off and it's like just it says milk, and I'm like, okay, milk it is, I guess.
Milk is it.
That was a terrible slogan for Coke in the 80s, I think.
Coke is it?
No, milk is it. I literally meant milk is it.
Okay, let's see here. What's the best way to support this? Oh, we'll use the third hand for this one.
All right. I'm going to back off. Well, I'm going to man this while you get set up for that.
Okay. This is one of those things where the third hand is actually useful because it won't damage the...
Right. Though it's now that I see those ones that the wicked ones that have like the weird gorilla pod arms.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to be making one of those.
Yeah, that seems like a rad idea.
Yeah. All right, get in there. Hold that tight. Let's flip that around.
That's the position you want it in then, yeah?
I think that's the position I'm going to use here.
Okay, let me just, there we go. Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to actually just bathe it in flux here. Flux is dirty. You're generally supposed to clean it off afterwards as well.
They have some sort of like flux cleaner that you can just spray on it or something?
It's
or?
called alcohol and tissue paper. All
Works,
right,
huh?
let's try it. Pin 1.
Ah, yes, the straw poll is back again. Couldn't pick a username, threw that up there. So if you're interested in seeing how tonight's episode of Tinker Tailor is going to go, if you want to place your bets, go take part in that straw poll. That is up in our chat right now, and we'll probably see it reposted throughout the night. Ooh. Owen Sound, Ontario, Canada, which is a small city, had a Pride Parade for the first time ever this
great.
month. Congratulations for them.
I'm hoping the necessary connections are being made here.
I mean, this seems like the kind of soldering that you've done an awful lot before.
Yeah, this is a lot easier.
This is familiar.
Though again, never with flux. I'm just going to have a look underneath to see if that's... because it feels like the solder is just sucking right through. No, it's doing the job, it looks like.
So when you do... what I'm finding interesting is that you're right-handed, but you put your iron on the left-hand side. Is that just because of the layout of the table tonight?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Okay.
It's really only table...
You don't want to have it too near your computer at this point.
That's the idea. Like this is a very cramped area.
Yeah.
So let's see if I can try this now. Pin 1 goes to here. Helps if you turn it on. Also, this is I've been having some real issues with my multimeter recently.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
If your multimeter is broken, what do you use to test it?
Yeah. No, it's not the multimeter itself that's the problem. It's the probes are just not what I would say fine enough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it might finally be time for me to upgrade a bit. Yeah. Yeah, that's Corvus. That's kind of what I'm seeing happen here. Is the solder is just disappearing down the hole and not showing up anywhere else.
Yeah, I love the way how much of soldering is sort of making use of the sort of fluid dynamics of
Oh yeah, like
of melted solder.
Yeah, liquid metal.
that it's just like, oh, the surface tension just pulls it right into where it needs to be.
Yeah, and that solder is inclined to stay on a pad.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of how the surface tension works.
I'm gonna adjust that slightly.
Okay, we're
Again,
at...
apologies for the camera shake. The capillary effect. Thank you.
capillary action.
My dad's a gardener, and when I was a kid in grade 1 or preschool or something,
Right.
he was one of those things where they got various parents to come in and do things, and he came in and he brought a bunch of big sort of marigold flowers,
Right.
and then doing the thing where you put them in they're big white flowers,
Mm-hmm.
and you put them in colored water,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and they bring the water up, and all the sort of veins of the flowers get colored.
Stained the color.
Get stained, yeah. The capillary action.
And it happens quite quickly enough that you can see it happen as a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, my when the little bit of soldering I've ever done, which was just great big pads on guitar cables essentially, and I tried to fix my multi effects pedal one time and was not really good at that. Did a piss poor job, I think, but it worked. My dad was like, "You have to heat the part, not the solder," and I couldn't wrap my head around the idea that, well, then how is the solder going to melt? And it's like, oh, you heat the part long enough that when you touch the solder to it, the solder then immediately melts and goes on to the. And I'm like, I see. But then it's all about finesse and fine motor skills. And when the first time you're working on stuff like this, it can be tricky.
And patience, too.
Yeah, patience is absolutely necessary. You're right.
Oh, yeah, and that's why I need more patience than not. I knocked my soldering temperature down. All right. Think I've got most of them so far.
All right.
Well, the first half, rather.
The idea with these sort of through pins is that you then snip off the extras, right?
I mean,
Extra.
you can. These ones not really necessary.
Because when they sit in there, they're not going to bump into anything else.
Yeah. Like if I were to be doing this fairly cleanly, or cleaner than I am, that would probably be the goal. But
yeah, solder is a finesse weapon. it's dex based.
okay. Whew.
Is that one whole row, or you've got?
I am halfway done.
Whoa.
Solder wants to melt. The trouble is everything else does too.
Beej does not have a project for today. Beej is here to chat with the chat while Ian concentrates on getting this work done.
Ian is Beege's project for today.
Oh, Captain Spam hopes that his Dreamcast keyboard he sent got here alive, eh?
Captain Spam!
Welcome to the chat, Captain Spam.
Thank you so much for that. It made it. It's here.
We did mail time today, in fact, so you'll be seeing that probably in the next few weeks. It's difficult to find time at the Moonbase to do mail time, and you might think that, well, you guys are just here, right? And it's like, yeah, but when we're here, like people, especially Graham, are doing work that needs to get done before, other things that we're doing. It's constant things going on. So we were able to make some time, about an hour and a half, to actually sit down and do the whole thing, which is great. Because you guys are also very generous and you send a fair chunk of stuff.
Too generous.
Yeah, by half. But it's great. Heather's been asking, she's challenged people, in fact, to send postcards from,
that's nice.
like locations that they're traveling to or that they're even just from. And they've been starting to show up more and more too.
That's great, because they're also not spiders.
Yeah, exactly. We got a new spider today.
Hey, great.
You want to see him?
Yes.
Actually, I wonder if I should save it for mail time.
This message brought to you by the Postcard Marketing Board.
Yeah.
Postcards, they're not spiders.
Here's our new spider.
Ooh, hey, he's a purple one. Or
hey.
she, or I don't want to miss. Hold on. It has a name. And its name is Safety Precaution.
This is Safety Precaution, the traveling spider.
Creeper. I can make a big web in just one night. It can be sticky, wide, and quite a sight.
I'm glad we read that.
It's a creeper.
Yeah. It's
Jesus. I thought it was so cute, and then you had to go read that
Your
thing.
big sticky web. It's quite a sight.
Safety precaution, the TTSF mascot.
You can tell that he's a mascot because he's mostly ornamental.
And he's there to look silly.
Oh, Plummeting Sloth sent us a postcard from Koh Samed back in January, but I don't think we saw it. Sorry about that.
I'm just glad to know you were over in Thailand. That's a lovely place. Koh, I think, being the Thai word for island.
Oh, yeah.
When I was there, I was on Koh Lanta most of my time. It's where I learned to scuba dive from a very angry Russian man.
To escape from the angry Russian man?
No, in fact, he was actually quite good to us.
Okay.
We'd missed out on the opportunity to book the pool to do our initial trainings.
Okay.
So he said, well, fine. We're going to go out to the ocean.
Ah,
We'll just do it there.
yeah, in the open water.
Yeah, exactly,
You don't
right?
you don't need a license for that.
Yeah, we'll learn to open water dive in the open water. God intended.
On the job diving training.
I went scuba diving once when I was in high school as part of a community. It's very complicated to explain
gonna
why
say,
they did this.
Medicine Hat isn't really well known for its diving.
Christ, no. I mean, yeah, they have a river. Actually, the Echo Dale was there too, but no. I mean, so they took you to a pool, and you could opt to go scuba diving, and they taught you the things, but it was all over the course of an hour.
Oh, wow, that's not enough time.
It's nowhere near enough time. It's basically we're going to get the tanks on you and everything else on you, and there's only like 8 of you, and there's 2 instructors, and we're just going to get you into the water. You're going to sit on the bottom of the pool and breathe for a while, swim around a little bit, and get out. Is pretty much all the time of like free swim you had. It was more just to give you the experience of this is what scuba diving is like, and here's all the things you need to know when you get on it. We're not doing like signals. We're not doing any of these other things. It's just you're getting an exposure to this.
But the basics of using your scuba equipment is pretty good to have anyway.
Yeah.
Especially if you like ever need to escape from an enemy stand. It's kind of vital.
Absolutely. I did pass that episode, I think.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So that was very, yeah.
Come on, get in there.
I'm very, I wanted to keep scuba diving, actually. I talked to my parents about that, and they said, well, you have 2 choices. You can either take saxophone lessons, or you can take scuba diving lessons. These are your choices. And I opted for sax.
You just ran around the house going.
Your dream of being an underwater saxophone player dashed.
Yep. Couldn't do both. Have to design a custom regulator with a mouthpiece in it.
The regulator attaches to the horn of the saxophone. You have to keep playing. keep playing or die.
Dark Morford, I have seen the first episode of Amanchu, and I have not watched the rest of it. Also, part of the reason why I haven't watched the rest of it is because the girls have crazy school uniforms. They're full-length dresses.
Wow.
Yeah,
Interesting.
pink full-length dresses, like Sakura petal pink, and full arms, and they have like frill on the bottom and on the arm. It's really weird.
That does sound bizarre.
It's kind of unsettling to watch women walking around wearing a lot of clothing in anime.
Hey guys, I think this is done.
Oh, great!
I'm pretty sure that I've got most of the, or not most of, all of the things seem to be connected. Yeah, I wish I had a better way of looking at or trying to connect this. No, every trace is connected.
That's
So,
great.
good. We got there. That's one part down. Righty. Then.
So does that mean that if you were to take your continuity tester and touch it to one of the things, like one of these pins, and find the corresponding pin on the GD-ROM thing, you should have a complete connection at this point?
Yeah, that's
It's just finding the right ones,
So let's
right?
let's find one that I think I know is connected here. Let's get the Following the traces on this is not a fun thing, especially now that I've just.
Does he not have a pinout though? Like, say this, like, I assume Dragon City would have a pinout like on his site to say this connects to this here.
Yeah, not really. No.
Oh, that's too bad.
They've not opted to do that, but we can hope to find one. Yeah.
Maybe that one's not hooked up to anything.
I know that pin 1 and pin 1. That's
There you go.
So
Awesome.
that leads me to believe that it's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So, good. I was worried that was actually going to take a little bit longer than it would. Because the next step is dealing with this motherboard issue.
And so are you done with the soldering irons?
Not yet, but we'll be done. We'll need them later, so let's unplug it now.
You can
so
cool
we
for
be
now,
a little
it's
bit
okay.
safer.
Okay.
Let's.
So just for people at home, what is the if everything goes according to plan today, what will you be able to do by the end of the day today?
By the end of today, just judging on how much time it's taken us so far, I think we're going to be able to do it all. I will be able to literally boot this this Dreamcast
Yes.
into a third-party or open source new shell
Into Dream Shell.
into Dream Shell
Okay.
without a CD drive.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then once it's in Dream Shell, it's like anything you have connected to it, SD-wise.
Then we can just load backup copies of my games directly onto the hard drive, and it's nice for streaming then because there's no more of that.
I would assume it also gets past like the region locks and stuff.
Gets past the regional locks, drastically speeds up loading time.
So you can just fill a hard drive full of games.
Yep, we can also also be able to force VGA mode on all games, which is going to be nifty.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now GD-ROMs are about 1.2 gigabytes. I think.
Correct.
Yeah. So I was about 1.2 gigabytes. It's exactly 1.2. So that would mean that a drive that you're looking to put on here is you're gonna want larger drives than that.
Oh yeah.
And I'm guessing you have in mind something like a 50 or 60.
Like maybe I was thinking maybe a 500.
Can you find a 500 that's still IDE?
Well, that's the thing. This will work. This adapter will work with IDE to SATA converters. It'll also work with, apparently, a lot of people like to use the Combat Flash converters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What you cannot do is you cannot boot off of a Compact Flash to SD card adapter.
Right.
You can only boot off Compact Flash, but you can boot off hard drive too.
Because more of the idea of so that it's like IDE to SATA M2. Jesus. This is,
I'm in.
So the idea of a because it's like you could acquire more Dreamcast games then and make backups of them onto the hard drive.
Exactly.
And just be like, as I get more of these things, like we have a whole box full of games.
Yeah,
that
a full box of Dreamcast games.
Yeah, that a lot of them are in Japanese as well. It's just being able to put them on the drive and being like, we can just access them from here and it's fine.
Exactly. And now I've talked a bit about as well in the past about emulation being a thing that's really good for game preservation. But there's a lot to be said for running things on the original hardware. And at least this method allows us to get around the aspect of having to have a spinning disk be part of that hardware equation.
Man, that power supply.
Yeah, just all out there.
Yeah.
Can't remember if we need to get. Yeah, I think we do need to actually get that out too before we can actually get any deeper.
Oh no.
No, we can get the GD-ROM out first, which then means that might be. No, we need to go all the way deep. That's right.
Let's go deeper.
Because we have to get down to the BIOS chip.
Ah.
Because we're not going to be replacing the BIOS chip on this, and we don't want to flash the original one out of existence.
But you bought a.
Yeah. So what's the easiest way to to mount a BIOS chip on a board like that.
Just over top of the one that's already there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Piggyback style.
Really?
Yep.
How does that work? Is the chip that you have is designed to?
No, it's literally just a case of we're going to take this chip,
Yeah.
flatten out the pins sideways, and then flatten them straight down, mount it on top of the existing chip. A few of the pins will be left non-connected. We'll need a couple of resistors.
Right.
And so it overrides the pins of the other.
And yes, and then we'll attach a switch so that we can switch between.
Holy crap.
You're basically it's like you have the like Sonic and Knuckles cart for for your Genesis. You just plug it into the top.
Exactly.
Huh.
So that's the GD-ROM unit. That's the part that we want to,
Not have.
not have to worry about anymore. God willing, that's the last time we'll have to.
I was hoping you're just gonna like throw it over your shoulder.
And unfortunately, we will actually have to plug that in one more time.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we'll need to launch it once more with the BIOS chip installed so that we can get the BIOS in that will recognize a hard drive.
Oh, okay.
But then we're good. So let's just finish up cracking this open, and then maybe it's time for a short break. I'm now getting to the point where taking apart a Dreamcast is old hat for me.
Mm-hmm. You just remember all these screws.
Yep.
You've seen them all go by before.
Done this enough times.
They're like old friends.
My favorite part about this power supply is the way that it just lifts out and connects to the motherboard via these pass-through pins here onto these pins on the motherboard.
It's just these giant spikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow. Something happened there at some point.
It's gotten very warm, or
Something blew up. Short circuit?
that's a lot of discoloration.
That's a short circuit that happened there at some point, I think.
Weird.
Well, I mean, the Dreamcast is turned on many times.
Okay.
It's never had a problem turning on.
All right. So maybe just some arcing or something.
Yeah, that's probably it. Right, so
That's why there are shields installed.
I'm gonna take one.
Not really, no.
I'm gonna take one more picture here just in case I forget where these screws go.
For continued safety, replace barrier after servicing. For continued protection against risk of fire, replace only with the same type fuse and rating fuses. Good advice.
I find that the barrier method is best at protecting against shock.
This message from Safety Precautions, the Spider.
Yeah. He's your precautionary pal.
Is he fun to be with?
He's not fun, but he's necessary.
Mandatory.
Right.
Look, safety precautions aren't always fun, but they're good to have.
Mm-hmm.
Keep forgetting how many screws need to actually come out of these things in order to get inside the good part. Because you need to actually take the controller ports off too, if I recall.
Oh, God, really?
The
Yep.
GUI Dreamcast Center.
If memory serves me correctly.
So obviously that SD reader in there is not standard.
No, that is not stock at all. That was a eBay purchase from a.
Will that be part of this upgrade?
It will, because if at all possible, I'd like to be able to boot off of the SD card
Right.
and keep all settings there, and then just use the hard drive itself as the games repository.
Yeah. Which is interesting because I'm not sure. I would assume that the hard drive is more reliable in some ways than the SD card is. But I had something I modded once where it was like bootable off of an SD card, or maybe it's my Wii, bootable off the SD card or off the attached hard drive, and trying to make a decision about which one I wanted to do, was just like, do I do it like this, but SD cards fail, and when they fail, I'll have to actually do an entire brand new mod to fit, or do I put it on the hard drive? Well, the hard drive, though, it's an external hard drive. I could just be done with that at some point, and then now I have to format an entire hard drive to do this. And so yeah, ultimately I did both, and only one of them is ever in use at any one time.
Some crazy people I've seen do this mod by soldering directly to the pins on the SD card.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I don't recommend that one.
that seems a little excessive.
For some reason, I really like the vertically mounted clock battery.
It's interesting. It's not just a coin cell, it's a rechargeable too.
Oh, really?
So that's
Fancy.
important to know. I didn't know that.
Also expensive.
And I had a fan very importantly mention it to me on via email. It's like, hey, yeah, I heard you were interested in replacing your battery. Heads up.
Because obviously, recharging a non-rechargeable thing would be bad.
Yeah. Heads up, you may want to make sure that, oh yes, the
Just see a picture of what that looks like.
Katana Sub BD.
Oh, you can't, because the thing obviously doesn't autofocus, but there we go.
There we go. That's the shield gone.
So many chips.
Alrighty. And there is our BIOS friend.
Nice.
So this chip will very pleasantly just slide down
Piggyback those traces.
on top of that there. And then we'll be raking some solder between those as well.
It seems so weird to me, though. Like, I understand.
Like, wouldn't the two electrical signals mess each other up?
Like, you'd think they would interfere, right? Except that you're saying you can put a switch, but you can put a resistor between the two and add a switch between the two to be like, I want to complete this circuit or I want to complete that circuit.
Exactly.
And therefore, it's like, oh, the actual power going to here is going to trip this one instead of this other one.
Right. Well, I think, as I said, that was something happened there.
Oh, yeah. It's all black around there.
Very black.
All right. Let's get a picture of that. So you're saying right up there.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
that's something.
That's a lot of black.
Really went bad there. I'm gonna keep my eye on this while
I guess it's impossible to know. I guess that happened sometime since you last opened it?
I don't think it could have because
It just would have mean that you wouldn't have noticed it the last time, though.
yeah. Or I forgot about mentioning it. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna keep our eye on that when we put this back together and run it. But I do want to see if I can pull out the IDE cable from the bottom.
Yeah, go back to the replays and see if you see any smoke coming out of it.
Alright, let's just lift that board out of there because we're going to need to do that to do our work anyway. What is it catching on? There we are. Unfortunately, this hole that I put in the bottom of the Dreamcast is no longer relevant. I guess it's just extra ventilation now, which, judging on the color of...
Not a terrible idea.
Yeah, judging from the color of the what happened elsewise, or elsewhere, a little extra ventilation, probably not a bad idea. Okay, there's the case out. And there's our job of earlier... Ugh.
What do you think about that, then? Do you just dike those right off and you said cover it in Kapton tape at that point?
Yeah,
right?
I think so. God, because I don't want to try desoldering that. I think, yeah, I just clip most of it, and then
Clip it to win it.
we can look at how ugly it is underneath there. Because I can always desolder it in the future. But so much work being undone. Oh, that feels good to get out of there, though.
It looks like, if you leave a potato too long and it starts like growing little
Here's the ugly rat's nest of...
whew.
Yeah, that was back before I was better at soldering.
Well, it's also just a ridiculous, not only are you soldering 40 pins, but you're soldering them at
Yeah,
You're
like
changing
you can
the
see how where
positions
we
of
had
all
to change the positions of this cable.
Oof.
Everyone had to be woven in a different direction. All right. Yeah. So that's it. We are now down to bare metal, which means it's time for us to take a short break while we refresh ourselves, you refresh yourselves, and then we'll be back to give this guy a new deep brain with a new BIOS. Don't go away. More Tinker Tailor Solder Fry coming up quick. Welcome back to Tinker Tailor Solder Fry here on the Floating Ready Run Video Entertainment Network. Hi.
Where you just missed something very funny.
Hey,
Apparently.
chat! Who's older, Garfield or Heathcliff? Ian had just told me, he's like, have you seen the new modern Heathcliff comics? I'm like, no, I haven't. Like, Heathcliff is like from the 1970s, and I know nothing about whatever. And I used to have Heathcliff books back in the day, but who cares about Heathcliff? And then Ian pulls up these two comics.
Here, let me just throw that into the chat there so we can all play along. Nope.
I cannot deal with...
Nope, can't do that. Not logged in. Well,
we'll figure. You know what? You do your job. I
You'll try
will
to
figure
find
this
it?
out.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody else might actually pull them up on the thing. I think.
because
But
I need to actually use this
Yeah.
computer now because I need to begin work on the BIOS. And to start with that, we need to discover which type of Dreamcast motherboard we have, which revision.
Oh, how many different revisions were there?
Thankfully, only 3 that I've seen so far. There's the VA0, which is immediately recognizable because it's got a bunch of heat pipes on it, and that
Cool.
lead to a fan. Those went away apparently; they were no longer necessary. So
As evidenced by the large birch patch in the back.
put more heat pipes around the power connection, I think is what people want. So thankfully we don't need to do that. The question then is this a VA1 or a VA2? And I believe that this is a VA2.
I am never gonna find these.
Oh no, this is a VA1. Interesting.
What was the difference? Is it just a different manufacturer? Or something?
Just slightly different layout, but the BIOS chip is in different places depending on which one you've got. All right, so now it just matters as to where you're going to make the connections for a couple of the wires that need to go through.
Okay, straight up, what account was that? What was the name of that
The
account?
account is TIE Tuesday LP. TIE Tuesday LP.
Thank you.
As we have to share that now, I guess.
I'm gonna have to find it.
All right, first things first, let's go ahead and straighten out the pins on this bad boy. Oh boy, this is going to be harrowing. What's a thing that I can use? A card will work nicely, except I don't have.
Would it be advantageous to like heat them up before you? I guess it.
I think we'd be more worried about damaging the board or the chip itself. Also, getting them that hot wouldn't really make that much of a difference, I think. I think. I'm not entirely certain, but... oh, wait a minute. That'll do. I have an idea. Something that is thin and straight and is going to make everyone very angry with me. Unless we've got a... No, this will do. All right, let's take the blade out of this. Because I think the shield for the Dreamcast itself is going to be too thick. Or not. No, that should be fine. Well, we can probably still use the blade in here. Oh, hey, wow. I didn't know this came with extras. Suddenly this is just garbage, and these are, one of these is getting stuck in to replace it.
Oh, good.
Because I always hate how badly this cuts.
So it's time for that to go away.
But if it's got a fresh blade, well then. Sir, you...
Secret blades.
While we're here, and I'm going through this person's Twitter, I saw something flow by incredibly fast. Metal Wolf Chaos XD.
Yes.
Yes.
That sure does exist, and I'm very excited about it.
Good.
It's going to be a ton of fun, as they say in the industry. I believe the elephant industry.
Come on.
All right.
I saw the one comic flow by real fast, and it was an edit, and it was not the same one as the one that you showed me, and that I broke on.
You absolutely must see these now.
I need to see this damn thing, and how old was that post? Jesus. From like weeks ago?
It was from May 30th.
Okay. Okay, this I can figure out. Just have to search a dude's timeline.
There we go. Let's get that screw back in there so we are not just throwing these all over the place. All right, there we go. Now we can use the edge of the razor to bend the pins up. Make sure they're good and straight. And then we will flatten them against another metal edge.
Wow, it will not find it.
Can you move that forward a little?
Sure thing.
That whole thing?
Is that good? Forward more?
I'll move it
yeah,
around.
there we go.
Yeah.
How about right there?
Yeah. I can get a better shot here.
There.
And done.
Well, yeah, that's not as flat as I'd like them to be anyway. So I think we'll just have to use the needle nose pliers technique.
Pinch each end.
This has the added benefit of roughing them up a bit. All right, now they're all there. They're slightly out of alignment, which is fine, I think. Oof.
It's like watching a baby bird. No, wait, a fully grown bird. Not a baby bird.
Not at all. All right, let's bend these up again. Ooh, too far. All right, and then we will straighten them out.
It's a centipede doing a belly flop.
I'm wondering if I regret, or if I'm going to regret not ordering multiples of this chip.
How much was it?
I don't remember. I think this one was about 25 or so.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, ordering two is that's a little much if you don't need to use both, right?
Yeah. Well, let me just double check that because I'm sure that's something that everyone is interested in.
Just do it perfectly the first time.
Yeah,
No worries.
That's always the best option. This is, by the way, where is my magnifying glass? You might be able to read it better than I can.
Probably. It's MX.
Yep, sure is.
Something Taiwan.
Okay. It's an MX 61036 29 LV 160 TMC 90. Made in
So-
Taiwan.
So does that have all the same stuff on it that the real BIOS does?
This has nothing on it right now. It's a blank chip,
Oh, okay.
but it does have. It is the same type of chip as what's on the Dreamcast right now. Where's my?
And it's not, and it's field programmable.
Correct. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Someone got the Heathcliff into the chat.
Yay!
Great.
Thank you.
That's a very expensive chip unless they programmed it for you or something. Still expensive. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking I might have got the price wrong. Yeah, just an EEPROM. Let me look up my previous history.
Yeah,
Whoop.
the Gravy one is the only one. I saw two go by. One was the Ape and one was the Gravy comic. And I just kind of lost it when
Yep.
I saw the Gravy comic.
Okay. How far back did I buy that? There we go. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I got that off by an order of magnitude. I paid $236 for it.
Oh, you should have bought a couple.
Yeah.
I see.
I really should have.
Ah, well.
We're doing it live. Okay.
So something's going to happen.
Yeah. Next step is we're going to do a piggyback BIOS install. So I'm going to follow some instructions here.
All right.
Start by lifting leg 12 of the original BIOS chip. Cool.
Yeah. Ever had to do that before?
Nope.
Okay.
Let's, we're going to need the soldering iron for that.
I imagine.
Because we're going to need to disconnect a, we're going to need to desolder a pin and lift it.
All right. There. It is plugged in. The red light is on. I have no idea if it's hot, if it's on the right temperature.
Oh, it's going to take some time to heat up. In the meantime, I'm going to straighten some of these pin legs. Because
Do not ask me what my helmet size is. I do not want a Gravy helmet.
the answer is probably large. You seem like a large head.
I do have a reasonable sized head, yes.
Did I say reasonable?
Well, okay. It's large enough.
For your brain?
Yes.
That's generally the size that you want.
Yep. I'm not encumbered with constant headaches or anything like that.
All right, that's relatively straight. Let's hope that that's going to work. Okay, so start by lifting pin 12 of the original BIOS chip. I gently heat the leg where it joins the motherboard, and then with a scalpel or a needle, lever it up and carefully straighten it with a pair of needle nose pliers. Well.
So for whatever reason, most of the connections you can just leave, but a couple of them you can't for some reason.
Exactly. Thankfully, we've got this handy pick set and tweezers, which are going to be useful for this, I think. First step is going to be counting out pin 12. So from the arrow, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, literally 12. So that's easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's recount that. Thankfully, it looks like it's next to... Actually, let me put that under the overhead camera, too. Maybe that'll work. Yes, there we go. So, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Back up the head a little bit. There you go.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's the one just to the left of this unmarked one. Good. That will make things slightly easier.
How many legs do you have to lift up? Just the one?
Just the one on the original chip, it looks like.
Huh.
Oh wow, these hooks are actually too big to get in there. I'm literally going to need to use the needle end of these tweezers.
Cool.
Yeah, that's fun. Actually, do we have a actual sewing pin or a safety pin?
We will, absolutely.
Okay,
Give me a
great.
second.
Thank you. Rather than bending these tweezers, which are already they're pretty fragile. I'd like to keep them in as good a shape as possible. Oh, I could have used these to straighten out my chip ends. That's much better. It's still ugly, but that'll help for the soldering, I guess. Hopefully. Push. Which revision is the board? Tipulsar. This is a version VA1. Thank you. Okay, perfect.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect. So I'm gonna try and get my.
What was that?
That was the score counting up.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a yip.
No, it's Have you seen those guys do the cosplay, but they both have microphones, and as they cosplay Street Fighter 2 characters, and as they fight, they do their own sound effects?
No, but you're telling me about them.
It's really, they've done a few videos, and they're really, really good.
Okay, I think I got it. I moved it, that's for sure. It's very small, Beach.
Yeah.
Yep, good. It has been removed. And the pin is lifted. Now to very carefully coax it up and out.
Oh. Someone emailed me to let me know that they're going to be the next mayor of Vancouver. They want my support. How should I do that?
Torgno gives support.
Do you have that power?
I don't know if I do, but I'm surprised to find out.
As is standard, everyone must have Bija's blessing before
Becoming
mayor.
Yeah. Of Vancouver, a place I don't even live. I didn't even know we were allowed to vote in that election, but that's really good to know.
I mean, as an election expert, you're not. Mm-hmm.
You do happen to know a lot about elections.
It was a poker game. Things got a little crazy. Mm-hmm. Some things got bet that probably shouldn't have been bet. And now Bij has municipal authority in Vancouver.
What's weird is that that's the first that anyone has actually emailed me about it, which is very odd because if anybody else wants to be mayor, you'd think they'd have gotten a hold of me by now, but
especially if they have to.
Yeah, right?
Okay, pin lifted.
Makes this cute little leg. Actually, let's see if I can show it on the camera.
Get this out of the way a bit.
You can see how not all of those legs now line up.
It's this one right here.
Yeah. Rotate it 45 degrees.
Yeah, you're just out of focus too.
Trust me when I say that the focus assist is doing its damnedest.
Oh yeah, no, that's. I think you can see that. There you go.
That's very
there
obvious.
There we go. That makes it obvious.
It's like you took your centipede for a walk and now it's relieving itself on a fire hydrant.
Is that where a centipede's genitals are?
I
Wait, does it pee through its genitals? What if it didn't? Are there animals that don't pee through their genitals?
I don't want to think about that. Okay. Bendy time. Bend complete.
Okay.
Side 2. Bendy time.
More of the B side. It's not as popular as the.
Wait, didn't you just bend it?
No, I straightened.
Yeah.
Now they're bent.
They were bent at the kind of that like a rake gets bent. He's bent them like out straight and then flat straight down to make them
they
longer.
need to go down longer.
Yeah.
Right, I see.
Okay.
You can probably buy I guess it's kind of stupid to say this, but I figure like you can buy a some sort of mounting solution that would be the right height for piggybacking, and then just be able to drop chips into it if you need to.
Probably.
Yeah. Now people just want me to Google cloaca. I know what a cloaca is. I want to know if there's like genitals that you don't excrete out of. That's my question.
I feel
genitals?
like the answer to that really depends on your definition of a lot of those words,
Sure.
like genitals and excrete.
Yeah.
I think once you get into the more, shall we say, esoteric animals, the definitions of those things might get a little bit fuzzy.
The lines cross when you're talking about jellyfish or something. It's like I don't really know if you'd even count that as a genital.
Blurred lines.
Yeah. At this point, we just call it. We don't even give them the soft G. They're just genitals. Ooh, that's an amazing smell. What am I smelling?
Hot.
Hot. I'm smelling hot. I'm smelling air that has been made very hot.
Okay. Next step is. Sorry?
That's what I mean. Phoenix888 said, I believe some things urinate through their skin. Even humans.
Yeah.
On occasion.
They can.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. But yeah.
Oh, right. Look at that.
Just straight lined up. Okay.
at that.
Actually, let's see if we can get that too. That's a pretty looking piece there.
Yeah, we got it.
Hey, neat. So now do you have to, because that pin's been pulled up,
It's like a backpack.
do you still connect them all together?
Yeah. So
Even the one that's been pulled up?
Exactly. Okay.
So I'm very curious as to what that one pin does that we don't want it to do anymore.
Well, that's going to be one of the pins that we connect to the Switch, I believe.
Oh.
Yes. We needed to wait this long in order to mod a Dreamcast so you could also interface a Nintendo Switch.
What have installed and soldered each leg? So
The Dreamcast was in many ways ahead of its time.
Mm-hmm. It ran Windows. Like all great consoles.
Okay, so apparently they suggest preparing the legs by adding a bit of solder at the top of each leg.
Okay.
I'm wondering if I want to do the rake technique again. I don't think that that's best. I'm going to try and
You don't want any of the solder to like go down onto the board.
yeah, ideally. So
Interesting.
but I am going to flux it up.
Ooh, if you don't want to drop on the board, flip it upside down and hold it above you, and then
Yes,
then Michelangelo that shit.
Yeah, right into my eyes.
Yeah.
We do also want to lift a bunch of legs on this one as well. So I'm going to do that beforehand.
That's easier.
Yeah, we want legs 1 and 12 and 44. And 23 if we were fitting it to a VA0 motherboard, which we are not, so that's okay. All right, so 1 is going to be easy. We're just going to, I'm going to use this tool for that.
The Dreamcast, thank you, Darkmoor, for the Dreamcast supported Windows CE, but most games actually didn't run it.
Mm-hmm.
They used the native Katana SDK.
To be fair, most things didn't run Windows CE.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that certainly did their best.
And those that did were, yeah, as you say, did their best.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any thermal paste to hold the chip down to prevent any shifting? I don't think it's, like, once all those legs are in place.
Yeah, the minute we get one leg in place, it's going to be
kind of not going to want to
pretty
move.
solid.
Yeah.
All right, and then we need to do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh. It ran DirectX years before the DirectX box came out. Yes, that's where the X and Xbox comes from. DirectX. And now they all just run OpenGL.
I don't think so.
I don't think that's true at all. Welcome to Beej's House of Lies. Why is it that every show that one of us ends up on, one of us is starting a House of Lies?
Every show is the House of Lies.
It's what people want, I guess.
They tune in for DIY work and lies.
Come for the DIY work. Stay for the lies. Stay because you don't know what's true anymore.
Okay, just skipping ahead here to make sure that I'm not.
Serafina, we're 90% confident that this is the finale of the Dreamcast saga tonight. It's 7:43. We did take a break, but we figured that Ian's going to be able to push all the way towards the end.
Yeah.
After installing this chip, because we have already worked on this little bastard right here, Ian got a custom board, but for about $40 that allows you to connect a surface mount GD-ROM connector to it, and then also a 40-pin IDE adapter to it. And he soldered all that stuff earlier before the break. We have taken the Dreamcast apart. The idea is when this is all getting put back together, he should just be able to plug this right into the GD-ROM connector and then plug the other end into an IDE drive, anything else that runs ATA, say an ATA to serial ATA adapter, and use an actual serial ATA hard drive.
That are available for purchase for not a lot of money.
Yeah, IDE drives have gotten very expensive despite being things that not a lot of people need anymore. Weird that things that not a lot of people need get more expensive as they get more rare, but yeah. So the process now is we piggyback a BIOS chip that is currently just empty onto the other BIOS chip, and then he's going to install a switch so he can just decide, like, switch between the two. Is this still moist?
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm going to try and...
I was talking to Corey when we were streaming this morning, and saying it's kind of like, you know, in an RPG, there's like the bad guy that you have to fight like multiple times. You always like fight him, but you kind of get to like a standstill.
Right.
And then he's like, you're not worth fighting. I'm gonna leave now. But then you come back with the better equipment. And then this is where we are now. Now Ian's come back. He's been training. He came back with better equipment, and the final battle.
Yeah, it's definitely was like the Dreamcast should have defeated him earlier completely. I mean, there have been games though that have started with somebody being dead.
The first Dreamcast fight was a supposed to lose fight.
Yeah, exactly.
With that IDE cable.
So also as part of this, the GD-ROM drive that was is the center of the Dreamcast where you put your games in. Ian is removing that for good.
Correct.
It only needs to be connected the one more time in order to get all of the new BIOS onto the blank BIOS chip that he's currently piggybacking. And when that is done, he won't have to have it in there anymore. He can connect this this board that we saw instead, and then just have like a drive rattling around in there instead. Or do they make a, oh wait, we have a 3D printer now. You can just print yourself a caddy for drives if you wanted to.
Hey, and you know what? I've actually found some already.
Like the schematics for a 3D printed drive caddy?
A drive holder.
Swank.
Nice. That's fantastic. I believe that catches us up to where we are now.
Yes.
Kind of caught everybody going on there.
So currently what I'm doing, just to fill everyone in, is I am adding a tiny amount of solder to each one of these legs. There we go. So I'll just do one on this side because it's fiddly work. But touch it and then just add a bit of solder because we're going to drag that solder up onto the pin of the other chip.
Above it. So you're adding a bonus solder so you can actually make the connection. Interesting.
Exactly. And apparently this is the preferred method.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It does mean that it's difficult to, like, even from the angle that I'm at, I guess if I took the camera and stood over here with it, I could give you a shot, but it's not very well lit either. Ian, do you want a pin?
Yeah, if you could get a pin down here on me, that would be great.
I'll give you a pin to actually light that. Because that's not being used at all.
Oh, yeah. Hey, there we go.
All right.
That's actually bright now. Hey, maybe this might actually be useful in this instance.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. So much better.
That's so well lit. All right, I'm going to move the camera a bit too. My God, it's going to look so professional here in a couple seconds.
Ooh.
Not like right now.
No,
but
no, no.
Soon.
In a couple of seconds. All right. There. God, you should be able to read the chip now too. So, anyway.
Indeed, we can.
And I'm going to sit a little further back because I don't even want to bump the table at this point.
I want to twist this for a better view.
Just wait for Beej to set up the camera, then move.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
exactly.
Get comfortable is all I ask. Yeah, I definitely want this to finish, obviously.
Okay. Whew, I'm gonna have to be careful here. I got very close to connecting two pins that shouldn't have been connected.
Ooh, all right.
Right, it's real easy to short circuit the thing, eh?
Yeah. Okay, and that's gonna be that side now.
So this is just the prep stage here.
Right. Did that one already?
I guess my expectations were that it's a what do you call it? That it was like there is but one way to solder. You know, this is the way you do it. The technique is to do it only this way, and if you're doing it in any other way, you are going to screw it up. And what I'm learning here tonight is that there's a lot of different ways to think about how to do this. Like
The objective is always the same, but depending on the circumstances.
get creative.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's some smoke. So, yeah, in this case, it's like, oh, tin your legs beforehand, and then put the chip on top, and you'll be able to reflow that solder and hopefully grab each of the legs in the meantime.
Just thinking about all this old this console stuff reminded me of I was just reading an article the other day on Gamasutra. They had game developers talking about the nastiest hacks that they did.
Oh, yeah?
You know, stuff where it was like, you know, we were working on this game and it, you know, there was a problem with like the controller. And so I put in like some debug stuff just so that it would change to different colors.
Right.
Like the screen would change different colors as it went through the different loaded the different areas, so we could tell at what point the controller was messing up.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And it didn't mess up anymore. He's like when I put those tests in, it didn't mess up anymore.
Right.
This was like a day before they had to ship it, and he was like, so I just, instead of making it change to different colors, I just made it all of those screens black, and we shipped it. Because it worked.
It's weird because like my favorite one of those is the guys who are like, well, we had to make a train in a certain video game, but we didn't have a way to like, we didn't want to have to program an entire train to follow a track to do whatever. But you realize you can just make an NPC run along a track. So we made a dude who was small, and we gave him a train to wear as a hat.
Yep.
And he just ran along the whole time.
Is that GTA?
That was Fallout.
Fallout, right?
It was like a man wearing the train hat.
Yeah.
The other one is my absolute favorite though is it was Insomniac.
Oh yeah.
The one of the Ratchet and Clank games. And it was he was saying it was a online game that they had no provisions set up for how to update it.
Demullet 14, I think, is bringing it up right now, in fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
They had to. So what they ended up doing, they had no provisions in order to update it, and so and no way to connect to push out an update to the game.
Mm-hmm.
But the game started with an EULA.
Okay.
Right,
As one normally does, yeah.
when you boot it up, because it had online interactions, and that the text for that EULA was dynamically loaded off their server.
Oh.
So they ended up, what they did is they figured out that the thing that parsed the text from the EULA they could overrun the buffer. So they could send a massive EULA thing that overran the buffer and then edited and basically bootstrapped in code that they wanted to add as an update to the game.
They hacked their own game.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's fantastic.
I'm so proud of them.
There's like the text from the EULA and then just a huge chunk of binary code afterwards.
Oh my god.
They had to hack their own game, yeah.
What a wonderful thing, though, to discover and be like, I figured it out. Also, if anyone else figures this out...
We are in such trouble.
God, because that could potentially open up the console.
Yeah. Yeah?
Like any way of being able to execute arbitrary code.
Well, that's
is
how...
basically the...
Yeah, that's how a lot of Wii hacks have worked. One of the original ones was when you go to type in the name for the horse in Twilight Princess, you can buffer overflow that instance, and when you do, you can gain access to parts of the code that you're not supposed to have access to, which allows you to overwrite system iOS on the Wii, and that was how they got their initial access. Now, and it's gotten crazy past that. It's like the things they can do now that are just like, oh, here, go on the internet.
Yeah, it's like, do this, do this, do this. Yeah.
Yeah. There's literally a thing. It's like, go to this website. You did on your Wii? Great. It's hacked. We hacked it for you just now. It's that simple. I'm like, oh, God.
Speaking of simple, this is a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, good.
Say
good.
that until you're actually finished.
I got 3 legs done.
Reading there's somebody made a Quora post because they asked about what's the most, was it intricate or just like the most complicated code that you figure has ever been written or something like that, like this kind of thing. And the person started telling the story of what this was made to do. And started walking through. Imagine if you could write a piece of code that would do this one thing that had to do with this one kind of computer. But then imagine if you could then sign that. You would have to sign that code by this company, which means that you had to have access to people within the company to be able to sign that code so that it would go undetected as like a Realtek drive or something like that. And then from that point, that only was supposed to run on certain command and control machines that worked within this environment. And then that code would could then send stuff to centrifuges that process uranium.
Because that's something that normal people do.
Right? And then imagine if what you did is the code would cause the uranium centrifuges to just go they wobble ever so slightly, just cause them to change the motor slightly.
Just a little bit.
They wobble a little bit because they create a gas. And this gas that's created in the centrifuge does not react well like normally in a centrifuge. It actually just causes the stuff to not, the enrichment process to not work, and you just get a whole bunch of rock as a result. And the whole things they went on about to do all this stuff, and it's like, oh, and it would also grab the last 24 seconds of operation of the centrifuge and send that back to the computer, and all this was happening undetected, and I was reading the story, I'm like, this is amazing, and they said, yeah, it's probably why Stuxnet was the most advanced piece of software ever written, and I was like, that's what Stuxnet did?
Yeah. Well,
I never knew what it did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The crazy thing about Stuxnet was not only what it did, which was this sort of very subtle, very important thing, but its attack vector was crazy. Like, basically, it was this thing that was going around on the net that did nothing.
Yeah.
Like, everybody was just like, what that? There's just this, like, weird virus thing, but it doesn't really do anything because it was designed to only wake up and start doing stuff if it got into this one particular they basically, like, infected a whole ton of computers all over the world in the hopes that they would eventually get to this one mainframe.
Stuxnet's not for you.
Yeah, it was like, this is zero effect on anybody else's computer, but on the computers that matter, it's going to do all these very specific things. And it's kind of nuts.
I've heard it described, it's like, it's not, the technology that they used in it wasn't anything that hadn't been done before, but the way it all sort of came together and the number of different attacks that they used and the sort of elegance of the whole thing was a totally next sort of level kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I believe it actually had air gap bridging stuff too.
Yeah. Also, just to let everybody know, don't bother mailing us USB keys as part of mail time. If one shows up in the moon base, I will be throwing it out. Don't bother doing anything like that. Just so you know. If you're like, I got some cool software, I put something on whatever. No, I'll be throwing that away. We don't have the time or the inclination to deal with anything that you might need. You might not even have put on there in the first place. But there's just like, it's like OPSEC around here has become way too important. There's too much stuff that's in progress right now.
The other thing I was glad I picked up was a desoldering braid.
Oh.
That suddenly just became useful because there was a good, nice, there was too much of a glob that I put on.
Yeah.
And now the glob is gone, and now everything's perfect. And that took me like 30 seconds, and I was not worried at all.
There's a great project, just sort of art project that some people were running a while ago. I think it was like in New York or San Francisco or somewhere, where they just took a bunch of USB keys and cemented them into the mortar between bricks just around town.
Yeah, with just a USB post
with just
out.
the post sticking out.
Yeah.
And the idea was that they were basically like USB dead drops, like, so you could plug into it and something might be on it. Or maybe not.
It's live, so something's going to happen.
Which is so dumb because, like, if I saw something like that, I'd be kind of like, I'm inclined to discover what's happening there. So,
Art's happening here.
So Seraphina's asked, why are they called USB keys? Because they are roughly the size and shape, roughly the size of a key that goes on your key ring.
And they often are on your key ring.
Yeah, they had...
People will put them on key rings.
I mean, thumb drive, I guess, is the other thing.
Yeah. Well, I
like
like flash drive as an idea because they consist of, like, flash.
Did Beach just decide to leave?
Yeah, you insulted him.
Or is he getting something? I like the idea of him just deciding, yep, my time is done. Goodbye.
He doesn't like talking about flash drives.
Paul, is it okay, do you think, to show this off on stream?
Yeah, I don't see any reason why not.
Okay, just because how it was sent to us, I was a little concerned about that.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes, though, they're called USB keys because they look like actual keys. Let's flip that way.
Down. Back.
They look like actual keys.
Back.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's the end on it right there. So it's a cute idea.
Teeny tiny. I love the USB keys. Like, the cool thing about a USB thumb drive is that they're tiny, and they can fit on your keychain and stuff. And so they're used, or they're largely used for putting USB things in, like, other weird shapes, giant things, you have like there's like USB drives that are big stuffed animals, or
Oh, yeah.
USB drives that are whatever weird, eggs or different or weird shapes. It's like why? The whole point was that it was a small thing, and you made it a big thing.
Mm-hmm. It's funny that like what I remember from working at like colleges and universities and stuff is that in the inevitably there were students who were leaving USB keys behind. And then they, in labs and stuff like that, and you basically would pull those out and you throw them in a box and you wait for the student to come back to claim their stick, right? Because they're like, lost my USB stick. And it's like, yeah, well, it's probably in here. What did it look like? You pull it out and you give it to them, or you check it or do whatever. But yeah, these days, I imagine IT is more like, if you find a USB key like sticking in a drive, you remove it and you throw it away. And you don't give a shit about whether it belongs to a student or not, because that's not what we're here to do.
Then you get out of there.
Yeah.
Sonic?
I mean, I wonder if they have to.
Like, I would.
Do they have to like seal up the USB ports on computers? I guess you could. There's software that you can use to make it so the drives wouldn't work.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, I mean, but even from an electrical point of view, right? That's like if you, because T-Stod mentions USB killers that you plug them in and they can basically fry the ports, so they can fry the system. And it's like, even if you can disable the thing, more often than not, it's like if you have front-facing USB drives on computers in universities, you're mostly turning those off is not something that you're going to see at a university, because they're like, we want this to be usable by the students, or we want this to be usable by the people who are supposed to be using these computers. And you have to, there's a great deal of trust that you're putting out there, and it gets everyone in charge of security really agitated, because they're like, there's so many unsecured USB ports, there's so many unsecured Ethernet ports on campus, and like all that kind of stuff, and it's just like, so yeah.
I saw in the realm of bad USB things, I saw, I forget where, it was some website had a prank USB thing.
Oh yeah.
That was just like, it looked like a little USB key. It was, or it looked like actually even like one of those like Bluetooth USB modules, like the super low profile things that just are, just barely stick out of the USB port.
Yeah. So you can barely notice them.
Yeah, and so you stick it in and it registers itself as a USB keyboard.
Okay.
And just at random intervals types, sends like a couple letters. But randomly, and only a few letters.
Ooh. Weird. So it looks like you've been typing, but you effed something up while you were typing.
Yeah. It's just not enough to make it really obvious that something's going wrong.
Right.
Just enough to make you go insane. Pretty much the worst thing ever.
Did you mention the USB fans being given out by the North Korean?
Not yet.
Yeah.
So that's something that's at the North Korean summit. I believe the Koreans are giving away USB fans that, like
to all of the assembled
reporters.
Yeah, all the assembled reporters.
Just a fan that you plug into your computer so you can stay stay cool, because it gets hot there in the summer, and they certainly don't contain any malware or listening devices at all. Most certainly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody has got to have opened one
By now.
to see what's inside.
So, I imagine that, let's say, as an example, the Washington Post IT department, somebody there probably saw those and was like, ooh, you know what? Bring one of those back. Don't plug it into anything.
Yeah.
I want to have a look at it. And then at that point, it's like, float that along to, because you could get a good story out of that.
Yeah, because it's like, one, don't plug it in, but two, bring it back, because it could be a great story.
Yeah, and the dude maybe only works in IT, but it's like, but if I pick this thing apart and there's something cool in there. But also I imagine like the Secret Service would probably be very interested in that, or like just even the CIA themselves would be like, yeah, we want to have a look at one of those too. But, yeah. Ah, and Ashiok says the U.S. government also released a report of other North Korean cyber attacks today or yesterday.
Oh, great.
So, yeah, things to read about.
Hammer, useful.
Yeah, Sid, previously headache. This is terrifying. It's rough when you buy, like, go online and buy things from certain areas, like you buy a cheap router off of Banggood or something,
Yep.
but it might run a firmware that is very easily cracked. There's a whole problem with like cheap routers and that had that problem where a bunch of them were just easily cracked by somebody else out there.
Or not even routers, but just,
Yeah.
the whole Internet of Things devices has been a whole new vector for nasty.
I remember I did an episode of this a while back where we replaced the firmware on a very cheap Chinese Switch, and it works great. But the only reason I trust it is because it's open source software that I put on there that's been reviewed and is up on GitHub.
Well, we did there was a story on Checkpoint that we did a long time ago now. Well, 6 or 8 months ago, but there was a very one of the largest botnets. Was actually made up of Internet of Things devices.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, it was being also primarily used by people with competing Minecraft servers to DDoS each other's servers.
Oh my god.
Apparently, at
Mirai,
least
thank you.
At least like a year ago, apparently there was like a lot of money in operating private Minecraft servers.
Because people wanted to be members of those servers, I guess.
I guess.
Which is odd. If they're really good servers, but I would just assume that it's like it'd just be like any other kind of private server you belong to. You pay a bit for bandwidth and a bit extra for the person's trouble, but what do I know?
Well, that was something that Robert X. Cringely was trying to get into earlier last year.
Oh yeah, he's still around.
Oh
right?
yeah, still
Okay.
writing articles with his son actually.
Oh neat.
Was writing. They wanted to produce
Isn't
these.
that a nom de plume?
It might be.
I thought that column had actually been run by several people over the years.
Oh no, I'm not.
Maybe
sure.
that's just a conspiracy.
I think that might be because he has done a number of things. Like it's not his blog is not his only bit. I'm now continuity testing all of these pins because this one would be annoying to get wrong. But God, to be honest, this is gone a lot easier and a lot faster than I expected it would.
Nice.
And people are going to say, "Oh, Ian, you're really good at this stuff," and I'm not. You saw the bullshit I had at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I think there's a little bit of being maybe I've gotten a little better,
Right.
but I honestly think that a lot of it's just due to comfort.
Yeah. The more confident you feel, the more comfortable you feel.
Exactly. Like I don't know if I'm actually any better at what I did or what I'm doing, but I certainly feel like it's going easier. Anyway, we got that.
That's great.
Everything's great. Next up, we need to do a very, very tiny, solder. So you see these jinsy binsy.
Okay. Oh hey, we got there.
Okay.
Good aim.
Yeah. So let me see if I can get the actual BIOS section in here. There we go. There's the chip. We'll just need a little
Right
bit
in
of,
the top there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just need a little bit of.
There you go.
Okay. Now bring the focus in.
It's
There
hard
we
when
go.
everything's green. Okay.
There we go. You got it. Okay. Let go.
Yeah.
And then that one will remove the shake. Maybe. Okay. So, if I'm looking correctly here, it's gonna be is it the tri-hole? No. It's one of these holes.
Did you say the tri-hole?
Yeah, there's not as in hey we're gonna try and get this in the hole. It isn't that there's 3 holes.
Oh, I see.
Boy. Anyway, it's one of these tiny little holes here. You see them?
Wait, those little guys, the little gold
Yeah.
circled holes?
Yeah, those are holes.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you have to get in there?
That's a wire, which is why I bought Kynar wire today. KYNAR. This was the expensive wire I was telling you guys about. This is 100 feet of this, costs about $30. I can probably get it cheaper online, but I do need this. And also, I think this is probably going to last me for the rest of my life because we're only going to be doing very small traces. But as you can see, this is a tiny little wire. It's so tiny. It wants to be very careful and not get in the way.
It'll literally fit in those holes, right?
Yep. There we go. See? Super tiny.
It's adorable.
So I need to find out which hole it goes in first. And then get it in there. All right, and you can test your soldering again. Let's start with the most awkward wire to solder now. The leg of the flash chip needs to be linked to pin 9 of the adjacent chip just behind it, assuming a VA1 motherboard. On the VA0 motherboard, it's leg 7. Okay, pin 9 of the Malaysia chip. Perfect. Oh boy. Dot to dot. Ashes to... Okay, I found it. It's super small. I hate it.
Okay.
So let's get some wire out
We're
here.
gonna need that soldering microscope.
That was, you know, the soldering microscope might not help me here. What I'm going to need is some very steady hands. All right, I'm going to send this through first, just to make sure that we've got the right hole, and then I can solder from the other side. But I want to make sure that this will go through first, too. Even though I said, yeah, it'll definitely go through. Make sure.
Is this the narrowest gauge of wire that you could get?
It's the narrowest gauge of wire I've ever come across. It's a type of wire that's used for, you know, making coils, usually.
So normally you would like have a bunch of them together.
Yeah. Put it through, tape it down, solder from the other side. Torian, you are not wrong. I just want to make sure I can scrape it from the other side too a bit. Apparently it's easy stripping, but that's proving to not be necessarily true, or also this is just bad. All right, that's a very dull blade.
That was the blade that you took out because it was dull.
Interesting things about Kynar wire is that it is, there we go. Ooh.
Very easy to strip.
It's easy to strip. It's solid core and then silver plated.
I mean, if it was braided core, like that would be a whole other thing.
Oh God, braided core would not be able to get through there at all. Oh no. Is it too deep or did I just not cut it fine enough?
Chop it at an angle. Make a needle point.
Or that happens.
Did you just bend it?
No, I just ripped it.
Piss.
Yep. Okay. Let's flatten that out using the tweezers. Seems good. Let's see if we can get it in there. And
Wire used for making magnetic coils. That's true. That is very, very thin.
Mm-hmm.
But that might not be suitable for the actual soldering part.
I feel like I've got it right next to the hole, but not. Yes!
Aha!
Okay, so you're correct. I'm going to now straight up just going to tape this down. Not even a second question about it. I'll tape it to one of the other chips. I'll tape it over there, actually, to the chip it's actually getting attached to.
I mean, having it be such a tight fit in there probably will make it better, easier to stay in. So that's good. But yeah, it's essentially like threading a needle, right?
Oh yeah.
Trying to get a very, very, very thin
Thread.
thread through the eye of the needle.
Now comes the part where I have to scrape things very precisely and very gently.
I literally do not know where that wire is coming out at this point. So.
I can... Geez, I just forgot.
Well, we lost it.
Nope, there it is. It's right here, Beach. right at the tip of my thing.
Oh, I see it.
I don't normally associate scraping with gentle.
Should be dead center.
I need to just get the pad prepared for actual soldering.
So let's just lift that up a hair. Sorry, everybody.
Where's my magnifying glass?
So is this where you're bypassing the wire that would normally go to the BIOS?
Yeah, exactly.
Is this the same? Is this the wire that would have gone to the leg 16 or whatever, the one that you lifted?
Yeah, this is no, this is actually a different wire actually. Leg of the chip needs to be linked to the adjacent chip behind it. Does it give me a reason why? Yes, it does. This is actually the pin 1 on the new chip. Will be going to this one. And there are apparently some alternatives, but meh. Next up, we're going to be doing some resistor.
I like that. It's the old parable. It's easier to attach an external hard drive to a Sega Dreamcast than for a rich man to go to find his way to heaven.
I think that's a fantastic parable. Where the hell is
Proverb.
Proverb.
Yeah.
Yes. Of course, at the time, nobody knew what it meant,
No.
but it has gained new meaning in more recent
in
times.
the digital era?
Jesus was like, okay, in 2,000 years, that's going to be really relevant. Let's just go with the camel one for now. So you're scraping away one of those traces?
Not even the trace. I'm just scraping away any coating on the trace.
Oof.
So that when I solder this, which will be in just a moment, it'll be good. Okay, I think I've exposed as much as I'm comfortable doing. What I'd love to have, and what I tried to get today, but they were out of stock, was a, they're called etching pencils. And
Oh, yeah.
They're literally just a fiberglass pencil that you can actually just get in there and provide a very precise, very measured abrasion.
Just like a very, very tiny sandpaper.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I think we can do this. So let's get this.
I'm assuming it requires a very teeny weeny amount of solder and heat.
Probably. In fact, I may just want to. The problem with a magnifying glass is that you lose stereoscopic vision.
Boop.
I wonder what that's like.
The old solder boop. Hey, yeah, maybe you'd be really good at soldering with a magnifying glass.
Yeah.
Because it's no different from what you would normally. So
It's-
you're already fully adapted to that.
I used to be reasonably good at firing a rifle and hitting targets, but not great at it. I mean, more practice would help. But yeah, it's was something that I was like, oh, I guess I could take up shooting. It only requires me looking through one eye, so.
Which
Never
is
did.
interesting because we were always taught when I did shooting to.
Keep both eyes open?
Exactly.
Ah, sounds like a great idea.
Okay, I don't know if I actually got a solid thing there, but we'll find out in a second.
If you give it a tug, like, will that
Well, I've given it a tug and it seems to be okay.
is not moving?
It's not coming out at least.
That's good.
Your wick
I-
to get the rest away, or is it okay?
Oh no, it'll be fine where it is.
Oh.
Everything's fine now. I wonder if I can actually use the multimeter to give it a test though. If that's even possible to get that fine. Oh, and I don't know that it is.
Electrons are really small. They'll probably travel across that wire just fine. Dozens of them.
Usually, yeah, but if you get like one really fat electron blocking the hole,
Yeah. Kind of lazy and wandering about.
yeah,
That's what causes most computer crashes.
fat electrons.
Yeah, unevenly sized electrons.
I think it's working because I'm getting some. Oh,
Were you not on continuity?
I am, but it's not.
Uh-oh.
It's not beeping anymore.
How weird.
Or is it in the wrong hole? No. It was in the wrong hole.
Hmm.
But it was showing a resistance, which is good. I'm a genius.
Yay!
Oh no! All right, because we need to do at least one more wire like this, but not to such a small degree. Thank Christ.
That's good.
Okay, this needs to be done up to there. Let's, God. Let's do our best. Where are my keys? They're in here. I'm going to use a much more precise instrument. A Swiss Army knife. That is attached to my keys along with a USB key. I like my Swiss Army knife for cutting wires and for stripping them because I'm a monster. No, because it gives me, it's a sharp blade, and it gives me enough control that I can know I'm cutting the insulator but not the wire.
Because it's so small.
Yeah. So let's just cut that wire there. And then let's give it a bit of... Because I don't want to pull that wire out. Okay, we're getting there. There we are. Strippage has occurred. There we go. Ooh, Nelly.
Do you need to stick anything down?
No, I'm good.
We're good? Okay. A nice shot of that.
All right, and now we're just going to solder this wire to that pin.
To the leg that's sticking out?
Yep.
Cool.
That should be no problem.
Feminine Desires Beej is not bored.
How could he be when strippage has occurred?
Absolutely.
Time to use the secret technique.
But I can see why you would think that, because I am extraneous to the process. But I am enjoying seeing this come together, and also having you guys to talk to.
Oh, I'm happy that you're here to talk to them.
Yeah.
It's using the lesser-known fourth hand.
Mm-hmm.
Forgive me, Sensei. I need to go all out just this once.
Yeah, that's in focus. Sure.
I like that with the zoomed in, it does look like you have three hands. It's like, wait, where's
How
the
are you
last
doing
thing
this?
coming from?
All right, let's continuity test that bad boy, because God almighty, I do not want to have to get back in here. Sweet. Okay, next up, we need to add some resistors.
Resistance.
Is not futile. And we're going to... Good. Everything's fine. Yes, good. Okay.
Demullet, you're freaking me out.
What's going on?
It's like, for some animals, the mouth is the only hand they have, Rockario says. And Demullet says, for other animals, the hand is the only mouth they have.
Oh, Parasite.
I'm like, ah!
I have also seen that anime. I wish there was a secret method to make these cases a little bit more closable, but...
I mean, that's why it's secret, I guess.
Yeah.
Wish there was a secret chord that I could play to please the Lord. You don't care for music, do you?
Not really, no.
No. Well, I'm going to play it for you anyway. It
Nay,
goes like
all
this. The fifth.
There's actually a super neat. There's a YouTube channel that I watched a little bit of. It does a lot of music theory things. Which
Oh, yeah.
I don't know enough about to like really, but I find it very fascinating to talk about it. But sort of breaking down thing, it's like so. But they were talking about the first bit of Hallelujah, and saying that like it's a neat the melody and the words and the composition sort of all come together because it's
They
like
follow.
because the first few things are actually quite complex,
Yeah.
and then it sort of goes, it's like, okay, here's the fourth and the fifth, like then it's like it's like quite a complex chord structure, and then it goes to like these really simple chords when it's sort of I slightly sort of exasperated, I guess.
Yeah.
with the in the lyrics, it's a neat sort of thing talking about how the idea that sort of even if you don't understand it as a music theorist, that sort of there's sort of a subconscious thing where it's like this sounds wrong,
Yeah.
or this sounds right.
Yeah. There's
12 Tone. That's the YouTube channel.
Bobby McFerrin did a TED Talk, which I adore.
The playing the audience.
Yeah, where he's
yeah.
like, you guys are gonna be a pentatonic scale without knowing it. Like, he didn't say any of that. He just said, I need you guys to do music for me. And he said, here, when I stand here, I want you to go bum. And when I stand here, I want you to go bum. And so he said, okay, so I'm here. So bum, 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 bum. And then he moved over one more, and they all went bum.
Everybody in the
all
entire
did it.
audience hits the right note. Yeah.
And so then he started bouncing and bum, bum, bum,
'Cause they're all
bum,
Westerners.
bum, 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 bum,
Yeah.
bum. They all went down.
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, the pentatonic scale is something that's built into our music theory that we just get on a natural level. And I love that. It's so fun to watch it happen. And it's the kind of thing that I'd wanted to do that shortened version of that as if we were ever like at an event or something, we were warming up for improv, and just be like, we need to warm up the crowd for like about 5 minutes or whatever. We need to waste time before like they're gonna start closing ceremonies or something, and be like, hey, I want to play the audience. You guys are gonna do this with me, and then do that. And yeah, I never did, but I was kind of wanted to do that at least at one show.
Yeah.
All right.
Todd McFerrin, so awesome.
Yeah, amazing musician.
If you just know the don't worry, be happy.
Yeah.
He's done some really. There's a bunch of great videos on YouTube of him just doing. There's actually a great interview I heard of him on Q.
Yeah.
Where, because he starts all his concerts improvising. Like the first, I think it's either the first or the second song he always does is improv. Like that's a big part of what he does, is just doing improvised songs.
Right.
Just with his voice. And so at random times during the interview, the interviewer kept just being like, sing a song.
Oh wow.
And then he would just start singing a thing for like 30 seconds.
That's big pimping, really.
That really is. Yeah, if you know someone can do that, that's great. But if you know,
Well, yeah, obviously that was like part of the shtick.
It's a hard
but
reach,
great,
yeah.
Hey, Bobby, sing us a song.
Okay, 5-part harmony. The God, that reminds me of.
Trim this.
He has something like a six octave range or something
Wow.
stupid.
That's astounding.
Like he's famous for having one of the widest vocal ranges of any performer.
That's super cool.
So in case you're wondering what I'm doing here, I'm just bending a resistor into place properly to fit to the pins that it needs to connect to.
So what is that? When you say properly, how do you mean proper?
Well, I mean, so that it touches the pins that I need it to.
So you're bending the legs to. It's not like it's like, well, when you bend a resistor, you have to bend it like this. You're literally bending it because it's like I want the circuit to fit across this.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I use the secret technique again.
The wire on that resistor is so much thicker than all the other wires you've been working with.
All right.
So this is connecting one of the legs on the bottom to one of the legs on the top of the resistor.
Yep, one of the lifted legs is getting connected via a resistor. And so that will allow us to put the switch in properly when we're finally going to get there.
So that's if for whatever reason you wanted to undo this hack, all you would have to do is flip the switch.
Exactly. And then we're back on the bottom, pre-existing BIOS.
Crazy.
Whew. Okay, that's part one of that one. Now I need to get the other side to hook up.
Thank you, Real Gamer Cow, for mentioning Reggie Watts, because that was the next thing I was going to mention. As a guy who's a lot of fun to watch.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Reggie Watts is great.
The video of him doing a whole piece with a looper, syncing with himself in slow motion.
Oh yeah.
Like he sets the looper to a slower sample rate, and
right,
and keeps syncing with himself. It's pretty amazing.
Oh my god.
Digital Seahorse, I'm working the close-up cam and also I'm Ian's co-host for the night.
Multi-talented.
Yeah. These are, I mean, this is a much chiller DIY stream tonight because it is a complicated, it's a weird thing. It's chiller tonight because it is a more complicated project. And Cameron is at at GP Vegas. Otherwise, he might be side by side painting some figurines. And you don't want me painting figurines. I would, after about 10 minutes, I'd probably just freak out, grab some spray paint, and be done with it.
Okay, so next up, I need to do a resistor between legs 1 and 12 of the new flash chip, which are both lifted currently.
So you need two resistors.
Yep. Thankfully, I bought a package of brand new resistors just for today.
There is something going on at GP Vegas that I was not aware of, and I don't know what it means, but what it sounds like is kind of astounding. It's the beta draft qualifier.
Sorry?
Yeah.
See?
I've seen Surge.
It's to qualify to be in the beta because they don't want to
just let anyone draft beta, I guess. That's literally what this is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty awesome.
Considering a pack of beta is like a couple $100.
Yeah.
I think.
You need 18 packs to draft? Is that what it is? I can't remember. Oh, I see. There's a beta Rochester draft on Sunday.
It's 18. No, wait. No, I mean normally it's you would have 8 people in a pod and 3 packs each, so it'd be 24 packs.
Neat. Okay. Jesus. And the participants are winners of sealed events, a series of Dominaria sealed events to win an entry into a beta draft, the prize for which is an alpha starter. So, spicy GP.
Big money.
Beta is in very, very early. Yeah. Well, the trick with beta is the variance in beta is extreme.
Yeah.
Like a pack of beta is almost invariably worth more closed
because you don't know what's going to come out of it. Yeah.
And the problem, like, there's a lot of cards in beta. There are cards in beta that are worth ridiculously huge amounts, but there's also dumb stuff like the rare in your pack might be a land,
right?
Or you might have like 4 land in your pack.
Yeah,
in your pack of 15 cards.
Yeah, the car at rare position, where you would normally expect to see a card at rare position to be a rare, would be like, no, we just put this land here instead, because it was a very random assortment. So, yeah.
Yeah, somebody gave us a pack of revised to open on Tap.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was trash. I think there were 5 land in a pack of 15 cards.
Jesus.
Like, it was disappointing. Not to say anything against the person who gave us that pack.
Because how would they know, right?
Incredibly generous.
Thanks so much, but
actually, well, the other problem is that a lot of the early packs, the packaging was such that there were known ways to
count and tell.
Well, to at least get a pretty good idea of what some of the cards in the packs were.
Oh yeah.
Because the packs weren't as opaque as they could have been.
Yeah, I watched a video that showed like, oh, you've encountered this card at this point. That means that you have this sorting of packs. So you're going to have these specific cards.
Right.
Yeah.
So what that means is that not only is the chance of getting whatever low normally, but chances are any packs that you would buy off like eBay or whatever,
they're definitely going to be
will already have been like box mapped so that they know that those aren't the good packs.
Yeah.
pre-unsealed. Okay, next up we need to solder one more wire between leg 1 of the new chip and 23, which also has a resistor off it. Okay. 23 is the far end, and leg 1 is 1. So we'll just use this other piece with this. Wow, $35 for how much? 3 inches? That's cool. That's value. No, as I said, I'm going to be using this. I'm certain I will be doing this sort of thing in the future.
All right.
With tiny things.
Well, because I mean the size of those holes on the board
It's a pretty standard
that's
size.
a standard way of putting traces on the
Yep.
board, right? So presumably, any time you would want to do that, you would need that kind of wire.
You know what? It's not stripping as easily as I thought it would.
I guess when it's that thin, the difference between the sheath and the actual wire is so small.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to get a hold of too. There we go.
There's the famous thing where one of the other very, very valuable early packs of Magic cards, Arabian Nights, is famous for having, for whatever reason, because of how the printing system worked, there was a mountain on the rare sheet for it.
Oh yeah.
And so in some number of packs, a mountain shows up in the rare slot, which means that that's one of the most valuable mountains you can get, because it's like the mountain from Arabian Nights.
Ah.
But it also means that
It's a mountain.
Yeah, you could open a pack of Arabian Nights and get a mountain.
It's like, thanks, Grandma. I asked the man at the card store, and he said this was the mountain you wanted.
Oops.
If your
Go
grandma
slightly.
gives you an Arabian Nights mountain,
Yeah.
keep it.
Yeah.
Those things are worth a couple $100, I think.
Probably been in her family for generations at this point. God, that's gonna be weird, right? When Grandma hands down her Magic collection to someone.
Like Magic's 25th anniversary?
Yeah, the 25th anniversary was this year.
Like
Yeah,
there's
that's a
th-
generation's
last
gone
year.
by.
Yeah,
at that
there's
point, yeah.
there's going to be someone in the chat whose grandmother is going to will them Magic cards
Yeah.
of value. Put a little more flux on there. Because why not?
Excuse me.
Uh-huh.
Language.
I have plenty of flux to give.
God, Fallout was so fun last night.
What are you getting Fallout out of this?
I'm sorry. I'm just standing off set, kind of watching the chat, watching the camera, and my mind wandered briefly, and it's like, oh yeah, Fallout was really good. Oh my God.
All right.
I cannot wait to play Pandemic Legacy again, let's be fair, but I would love to play more Fallout too.
I would like to play both those games
Yeah.
because they're both extremely fun.
That's good. Yeah.
That's good because
Pandemic Legacy, we should be playing again pretty soon.
Pretty
we would
soon.
have played it already, but various people were away for various reasons.
Yeah. Tape that sucker down,
But
maybe?
I think next time, the next Wednesday, everybody who is supposed to play Pandemic Legacy is around.
That's
going to have to happen.
Yeah.
yeah, I might have to tape that down, which is fine. We're not really using the overhead right now anyway. Stay fresh. I'm really worried. Oh no. I'm worried about the.
It's connecting such heavy wire to such thin wire.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that dude does it in his thing, right?
That's fine. That's there. Hey. As long as that hasn't broken, then we're good. Okay.
To be fair, I can understand why they didn't put a hard drive in a Dreamcast, if this is what it would be required to go through to put a hard drive in a Dreamcast.
Okay, doke. So, next up, we gotta wire the switch in place. I had a switch here. There it is.
It's a booper.
Yeah, let's make sure that it works the way it's supposed to. Okay. What the? There we go. And other side. Perfect. Okay, switch works as intended. Now we need to put together some wiring for this. And God willing, never ever touch this again. Or never have to, at least.
So does that have to fit under the shielding?
Yes. Which it should. And if it doesn't, then we just run it without shielding. Because why not, right?
Well, I mean, there's got to be, like, I'm looking at the barrier shield, like, I'm looking at that right now, and it looks like there's areas that are open. So, and it seems like it's pretty high, so, yeah.
So one has to be there, one has to be there, and one has to be on the 2. Okay. Well, let's do enough wire so that we can properly run this up. There, and one more. I mean, once we get things wired, we can probably ignore the switch anyway. It won't be really necessary, but it's nice to know it's there if it's needed.
Is this a switch that you scavenged off something else?
No, it was a freebie from the electronics shop.
Aw.
They're like, hey, we're having a switch sale. Cool, I'll take one.
And
How
we
much
were
are they? Free.
Yeah, he said
Slightly disappointed.
well,
but
the price tag said 25 cents. And I said, I'll take one of those. Great, they're free, he says. Fine.
Hell of a
25
sale.
cents off.
Yeah.
How do you make your money? Volume.
What? Burn it off? Oh no, this is good wire. The insulation doesn't burn off. Let's try the wire strippers. Nope, that's a great way to just pull more wire off.
Ah,
What if I do it slow?
melt it off.
Nope, that'll... Yeah, I tried that.
Ah,
It will not melt.
well, that's good, I guess.
Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to be thin enough.
Teeth.
Ham. You're damn right. Beej, that's actually the easiest way to do this right now.
Okay, that's good. Your tongue is a sensitive muscle.
I was trying not to eat the insulation. Yeah. It's also difficult because the beard here has the same texture as the as the insulator.
Oh my god. That's great.
Are your beard hairs
Conductive?
conductive? Could we just be using that instead of the wire? Just take the
Imagine,
continuity tester and just stick it into your face.
imagine
Ugh.
if people could just
Wow,
grow.
that goes deep.
If you could just grow like conductive whiskers.
Hey, who wants some of my follicle to make a new Ian?
You really grabbed a good piece there.
Yeah, that was a deep one. That hurt more than I wanted it to. All right. The answer to your question, does it conduct? It does not. Does my follicle conduct? It does.
No. Is it because it's wet?
Uh-oh.
Okay, good. No, the pieces the two ends touched, not the
Okay.
follicle.
Oh.
That would have been.
Like, oh,
Is the inside of my body conductive?
am I a synth? All right.
Talked.
I'm part cyborg.
This would be an awkward way to find out.
All right, let's.
The stream goes dark. You just hear jackboots.
Let's brush that flux on those guys. I like that the electronics shop just sells like nail polish remover.
Bottles of.
Yeah, bottles of nail polish.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for soldering.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. If you're, desperate for whatever reason and you can't get to a drugstore or makeup shop or something, go to your local electronics store for your nail polish remover.
Get a big ugly chunk of solder on there, maybe.
Sorry?
You gotta have to get like a big ugly blob of solder.
Well,
on
no,
there,
it's
or-
just it bends. When I'm putting pressure on it, this is going. Bloop.
Oh, you need to like tape it to something or
Yeah,
pinch
or
it.
just hold it. Have something hold it.
Do we have any? I was gonna say, do we have any fun tack? But yeah, this is good too.
Your fun tack.
Oh my god, the robot's got the button!
Who let that happen? Okay, let's try this again.
Ian's mouth is full, so I will explain to Kinkerbell. The Dreamcast is going to access the external hard drive by means of a cute little adapter that Ian has assembled out of a GD-ROM adapter, a a board that he bought off the internet that provides the traces from that to an ATA adapter, and then he just soldered an ATA adapter to that as well, a right-angled one, and so he'll just press fit that onto the GD-ROM port or plug, and then he'll just be able to plug in anything ATA to that, including ATA to serial ATA adapter. So you can plug in serial ATA hard drives instead of having to use old IDE hard drives.
Oop.
Is there any consideration for Ian to mod a Switch to play emulated games?
A Nintendo Switch.
I don't see. That doesn't seem like I don't really feel like there's too much point to that.
Yeah, not as of yet.
Yeah, I'm sure there is like the moment the Switch came out, the community bootstrapped itself.
Yeah.
Like they were like,
Right,
we're gonna
right.
start this now. And I know there's already been a lot of work on being able to gain access to it at this point. And there's even stuff where they're like, we did it, we got access to it. And then a new update came out that's like, yeah, you can't have access anymore. So that is a thing.
But it's like I could see modding the Switch to play bootleg games or to play fan made games or to region lock it and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to allow it, like I feel like if for whatever reason you really want an emulator,
PCs do a
there's
much better job.
there's probably already like 5 different electronic devices in your house that will do it for you.
Yeah, like you could get, you could buy yourself a PlayStation Vita and have a handheld device with a lot of power and ability to emulate old games, and you'll get there for a lot cheaper and a lot faster with a lot less hassle. If you really wanted to switch to do it, because then you can have the portable aspect, but then also like just have it plug into a dock in your house. Yeah, you can do it. Already, like for error says Switch homebrew isn't complicated and isn't really safe yet, and that's going to be the case, I'm sure, for probably another year or two. It's an NVIDIA Tegra, right? Like that's what's running underneath that. That's well documented.
Mm-hmm.
They figured out that there's hardware pads in this thing that we can just access and do things with. So it's fine.
That's the thing with all the consoles these days is that they're using commodity parts.
Yeah.
So it's all theoretically possible.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of whether it's like.
Do we have the will?
It's like I remember my favorite. My favorite demo was the first demo I saw of people hacking the Wii U to gain access to the video feed, or to put video onto the feed to the
gamepad.
The gamepad.
Yeah.
And the first thing they demoed with it was they had a PC set up running an emulator of an N64 running Ocarina of Time and sent it to the. So it's like that's one of the like 3 games that you could actually get from the N64 to run on on a Wii U.
Yeah. You didn't need to do this specifically, but
like sure you proved your point, but
and it's
you really couldn't think of anything else to do at the demo?
It's always Ocarina of Time, right? It's like, why not show off something that has like persistent maps or something as the second thing on the gamepad? Like the whole reason, like
or like a web browser, or like a Linux shell, or
just Hello World, just something.
I really
something that isn't one of the things that the system could do already.
Nice. What I've really wanted out of being able to get the Wii U video feed was just to, like, I wanted that so it's like we could finally find a way to stream Wii U games that have that secondary element, like we do with the 3DS, right? It's like that's what we want that for. And when the Switch came out, I got really excited because I was like, oh wow, it's a handheld that has a way for me to stream it just built into it.
Right, yeah. Because the only real way to like there were these various like super hack ways to get Wii U stuff, but the only real way to do it was basically the same way as the Wii U. Like there was a hardware hack, in fact, by the same people who did the 3DS hardware.
And there's lots of room on a Wii U gamepad to throw all that stuff in, which is very easy for them.
You can't get a hard, but it's like, it's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
We looked into it at one point, and we were sort of like, okay, well, if there's a bunch of Wii U games we want to play, then it might be worth it. But
there aren't.
There weren't.
And even then, the amount of Wii U games that were out, it was like, you don't need both screens all the time.
The amount of Wii U games that are both, both you want to play, and you don't have both, and you don't need, or you need both screens, and aren't also released on something else.
Yeah.
Is pretty small.
Yeah.
But for 3DS, the capture thing is very handy.
Extremely handy.
I definitely do, at some point, I'd love to get a new 2DS, like a new 2DS XL. I'd love to get like the Metroid Samus Returns 3DS XL that came out, but I'm not going to sink money into that at this point. It's not worth having another. I already have a 3DS. I don't need to have like another one. But I'd love to get the new 2DS XL and load the custom firmware on it that allows you to wirelessly stream video from it. Because apparently it looks very nice. And for 90% of the games out there, it's going to do the job. It has enough oomph to stream that wirelessly. And I was like, this might be a really good way to get 3DS games and whatnot. Like, for Heather to be able to play that at home, she already uses like a mod. She uses the modded 3DS from the office here. But it's like, if she didn't have to do that, and she could also play like a bunch of other games as well, or just one that belongs to her, so she can buy like digital games to put on, it'd be like, that would be nice too. But that is not going to be a thing just yet. But the day will come when it'll be cheap to buy a new 2DS XL, and I will buy one of those, and we will play with that.
Everyone will be happy.
And the day will come when it'll be extremely expensive to buy a 2DS XL.
So I have to aim for that slot right between those two.
Yeah. When they're clearing them out, but they haven't cleared enough out yet.
Yeah.
Like when you can get when you could get like Game Boy Advance, like the Game Boy Advance micros.
Mm-hmm.
They were like just
like $30 or
for
something,
like
right?
$30 or, yeah. It was just like, hey, that's a fun thing to have.
God, I look back on that now and I'm like, I wish I did that. I wish I had bought one of those. I was at the time I was like, I don't want one of these things. This sucks. I want a DS.
Yeah, why do I need one of these?
Like I'm not going to think about this thing that's just an older Game Boy Advance, like this tiny Game Boy Advance. And now I'm kind of like, I kind of wish that I.
There's a lot of cool GBA games.
Yeah.
In terms of like the smallest thing that you could sort of take on a trip or something.
Yeah. Easily pocketable.
We've done it. Okay.
By Jove, I think you've got it.
We're a little bit over time. Are we okay to go a bit longer?
I'm fine with that.
Me too.
Great. Let's see if we can get this done.
Beast it.
Or at least let's see if we can get it to boot.
All right.
Because that's what matters. If we can get it to boot.
So the last step is attaching that IDE conversion board in, right?
Yeah. But the key is we're going to see if we can get the BIOS to show
Okay.
up. If that works, then I think we'll have done everything we need to do in order to get it to actually run. And then we can just show it off on another game-based stream. But, Beej, would you be so kind as to find for me the monitor that we would use for this?
Right. I'll be right back.
Thank you. Ooh. I don't think I'm gonna. We do have to do some buttoning up, unfortunately. I mean, might as well. Let's put the screws back in, right?
Give it the screws.
Give it the screws. Too many sprues in all
So
the screws.
this is where you have to reattach the GD-ROM, right?
Yes, this is the last. Hopefully, this will be the last time we attach the GD-ROM.
And here he is, attaching the GD-ROM for the last time.
God, I feel like there should be an Enka song for that. Segata Sanshiro. Wrong console, but
So good. I'm so sad that that never made it over here. I only found about the wonder of Segata Sanshiro far, far too late.
Do you need your soldering iron?
no.
You plug it
Yeah, I haven't plugged it, but so you can just push it aside.
Sega should bring him back.
I mean, they keep releasing all sorts of classic collections and stuff. I'm sure at some point that will make it. It probably already made it onto a Japan-only release of
Yeah, of
classic
of
whatevers.
something.
Yeah.
How does this get? That gets connected this way. Yes.
So are you VGA only here at this point, or do you want to do something else? Because we've got component.
VGA is probably going to be what's good.
Okay. Do you have a VGA cable handy?
I do, but we'll get that.
Can you just imagine though if it was just like some Sonic game or some like Sega game, like a Sonic game or some new Sega game was coming out. There's the trailer for it, and then the trailer just ends with Segata Sanshiro showing up, doing a shoulder flip, and then the guy exploding.
Oh, that's
And
all.
how like if you did that at like an E3 press conference, how the entire audience would just explode.
I mean, if they remade Sega Gaga
Oh yeah.
in PS4 with maybe the Yakuza engine, that would be just bonkers.
You're aware of Project X Zone and X Zone 2,
Yes,
right?
I am.
Yeah.
It's it's a question of when am I going to find time to play these games?
Yeah.
But yeah, the crossover RPGs in the style of Smash Brothers, but before Smash Brothers was a thing,
Is audio going to make a difference for you?
in respect to.
Well,
oh no, yeah, we don't need.
We just need video.
Yeah, we'll know.
My house doesn't actually have any audio, presumably, right?
It's not going to have anything special.
Okay.
It might make a boop sound, but
Does it require external power?
no, it does not.
It's going to take it from there.
Everything comes in through that.
Figured as much.
So I'm just trying to figure out how to put this back in the most efficient way possible, because we're done there. Everything is buttoned up, and continuity is correct, and it either is going to work or it's not. And if it's not, then guess what? I lied, and there'll be another episode of this.
That's fine.
All right, Dreamcast, don't make a liar out of Ian.
Not another time. Okay, that's 2.
I want to go eat sour plum chips.
Didn't I finish those?
Did you?
I think I might have.
Oh, good for you. I ate a lot of them anyway.
Me
so.
too. They were very good.
They
They
were
were
very
from the Tokyo Treat Box.
They were from the Tokyo Treat Box. We, I hope you aren't disappointed, but we were like, we've waited over a month to do anything with this.
It's fair. We need to make room for the other Tokyo Treat Box.
Yeah, that was kind of the point. I was like, oh, the other one's here. We're going to open it soon, or we're going to do mail time soon. I have to clear the spot. So.
Yeah, we don't need to make this into a recurring bit
No.
in the loading ready live.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. And as a thing for everyone watching is that we do, if we're lucky, we do 2 lives a month, right? And there's been less because of, Road Quest, and also because of like everything else that goes on around here. So it's not like we're doing 26 lives a year, and it's also so we don't have an opportunity to get through a lot of things. And that would also mean that every other time we do a live, we'd be doing a Tokyo Treat Challenge, and
Yeah,
I think
too
that'd be
much.
boring.
Can I tell you something funny?
I mean, it's entirely possible that we will do another one sometime in the future.
Yes,
Very likely.
absolutely.
Can I tell you something funny, though?
Yes, please.
That is relevant to this. This now has enough mods in it that I forgot to put one back before I started assembling the thing again.
It is more mods than Dreamcast.
So it's not quite that bad, but it is bad enough that I've forgotten how much I put into this. Get in there. Get in there. Good. Seal it up. Everything. Well, yep, that happened. I was afraid that was going to happen. Oh, fuck.
Do they all crack?
No, it's just 2 of them, and they're the 2 that are on the chip. Well, Ed balls. We can maybe fix this.
Let's maybe fix it then.
Let's try our best to fix this. We're going to try and fix it by using 2 wires. I'm going to need that soldering iron back on.
Figured you would, yeah.
probably a good thing that I opened it up because we wouldn't have noticed this otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
All right, that should be heating up.
So the hope is
Can
that
we fix it? Yes, we can. Maybe. I hope.
maybe the hope is that I can get the wire to attach, or I can solder directly to the edge of that chip.
So it's that the weight of that resistor.
Someone's in chat.
Who's
Is it just the weight of that resistor broke the?
I think it was just bending it too many times back and forth.
I was like, I figured when you put the barrier down, it's like, oh, hey, I got something to crunch, you know, like.
Yeah, no, not that bad.
Okay.
All the other things, and I mean, that's really, we only need that for.
Is that for the Switch, or is that to actually? I mean, you need this. You need to be able to do.
Oh yeah, no, that needs to be. It needs to be connected.
Yes.
There is no question here. Okay, how do we do this well? The annoying thing is that if this doesn't work, I'll need another one of these chips.
Mm.
And then I'll have to resolder the whole thing again. It's not that bad, though, but it's still just annoying.
It's a lot of work.
It's any project like this that has like a lot of steps. It's interesting and can be fun to do it once,
Yeah.
but then the second time, it becomes frustrating,
Yeah.
and the third time, but very much so.
All right.
Well, that didn't work at all.
I'm gonna get the camera sorted. Well,
Thank
actually, I guess
you.
I don't have to until you're actually gonna begin.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fine. I will sit here.
I'm not going to take it out of the box because I don't need to right now.
I'm gonna buy milk.
Wait, it's still milk o'clock?
Oh no, it was milk o'clock at like 6:28. But yeah, I'm gonna buy milk at some point. Then it'll be milk o'clock again. I'm gonna buy salad too.
Milk salad.
Milk salad. You guys don't know what it's like to have milk salad.
That's true.
Uh-huh.
I cannot disagree with that statement.
It's like breakfast cereal. We're going to do that on the fry part of Tinker Tailor Salted Fry at some point in the future when I make milk salad for everybody.
Wait, milk salad is cooked?
Like breakfast cereal.
I don't want this anymore.
Oh, wow.
Okay, how best to do this? I think it's going to be a case of definitely want to flux this up. But I think I'm going to bend the wire and then tape it in place first,
Okay.
and then hopefully.
Oh, so you're gonna run a wire lead to that resistor instead of trying to get it straight onto the pin.
Yeah, like I'm gonna try and solder a wire to the side of the chip,
Right.
because the wire should be more stable, theoretically, he says.
Next on, hold my soldering iron. I'm going in.
Can you just put your finger right there? Ah! That smell you're smelling is success. All right, let's see if I can get a little closer.
All right. Carrot cake soup.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's
That's a Penny Arcade,
yeah.
as I
Talk
say.
about Penny Arcade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carrot cake soup. That was one of the ones where they made a comic and they were like, hey, wait a minute, we could actually just do that.
Yeah. What would that be like? It would be delicious.
Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
It's delicious. Okay.
I mean, Racario asks, is human skin conductive? And yes. I mean, yes. Not terribly conductive.
From a certain point of view.
Yes.
I mean, anything is conductive if you try hard enough.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it depends how hot it gets. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you try hard enough.
Yeah.
If you can get it to a plasma state, then you win. Anything's conductive. You ever put your hand in a plasma stream, Commander? It's like jump starting a Turbulgian bullshit craft.
Is this more Battlestar Galactica?
No, that's a
Is that next gen?
next gen.
Is it really?
When Data had to, or when Geordi had to, what happens when you pop the clutch in a Targaryen water skimmer?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you stall the thing. Yeah, so we got to stall the Enterprise. Well, why did you use that stupid analogy?
Yeah. It's like because those things still use manual transmissions, I guess.
Yeah, apparently. Future is bad. Okay, I did get that in there. This is super tiny. I hate everything about this.
Well, let's see if we can show everybody how much you hate it.
Yeah.
Get in really tight, in fact.
See there? I'm going to hope to make a contact. I'm hoping that this will make contact.
So that's why the little legs that you had to bend out, eh?
Yep.
Just those metal is not, or the metal they make the legs out of obviously is not intended to be bent.
Mm.
Not often, at least. Well, something happened.
Do you,
Come on!
do you do a continuity
I don't
test on it? Or
know
is it,
if it's... Like, I think if it sticks, then I'll know it's It sticks.
Oh.
Because the solder's not going to stick to the chip
Yeah.
stuff.
Right. 'Cause
Right?
it's ceramics, yeah.
So, I guess that worked.
so then you just need to connect that little wire to a different thing.
To the end of where the resistor chain is.
Well, I need to do another one of these too, and hope it works a second time.
Oh, well.
But I'm confident now, I guess. All right. And then we'll just bend that. Oh no! Ah, fuck me!
Huh.
It seemed like it worked, and then it was off a bit.
So it was not going to stay.
Well, it doesn't have to stay for long, right? That's the thing.
Oh, you need this long enough for the switch to actually...
Well, and it just has to, like, it's not going to rattle around.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I need to get in there and have a look. Which means disconnecting some of this other stuff again. Which might mean we are a little...
If it's solid core, does that mean that it'll hold its shape if you were to make a loop in it or something?
Well, I don't know what the loop is going to...
Well, give it something for the solder to actually grab onto, as opposed to just pulling it out as like a whisker-thin needle. Or is it worth refluxing the wire itself?
No,
That's
I'm
not
trying to find the actual trace.
Okay.
That's the problem. I can't see it. I need some sort of... Oh, there's a sponge right there. Well,
Need more water?
no, that's all right.
If you tinned the wire first.
That's not going to help either.
Okay.
Like, I don't know that there's enough metal even for it to hold on to something. There. And everything's so dirty thanks to the flux that I can't really tell whether I'm hitting the right place or not.
I know you're using this really thin wire. What if you got a thicker piece of wire?
Again, until I find out whether or not I can actually connect anything.
Oh, then it wouldn't. Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to help me at all. Yeah. I think I might just be hooped.
And that's definitely a wire that's needed, right?
Well, these are the wires that they use to connect something. Like, I'm not entirely. I don't understand, or I haven't even looked at the circuit diagram to find out what these wires connect to. But yeah, they're definitely necessary. So it's going to work. It will work with the bottom chip.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just like how it was before.
Yeah. But I don't know that I can swap it over to the top chip. That needs to be connected to that. That needs to be connected to that. But those are connected that way. Yeah, that one still needs to be connected. Always. That one to that one, I think. God damn. I don't. Drielsen, what happened is one of the legs broke off. Two of the legs broke off the chip I got, and I can't get. I can't reliably scrape down to metal.
Would a X-Acto knife with the longer thing to hold on to, would that help?
Not at this point.
Okay.
Thank you, though. Can you see here? Just at the edge of my blade, that's the contact, I think.
Hang on.
See the little change in color there, the copper?
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost nothing.
So what's happened is the leg has come loose from the chip.
Yeah, the leg has come right out of the chip.
I see. And that's the chip you purchased as opposed to...
Yes.
As opposed to breaking, it's actually come out of the thing.
Yeah, so I could try and tin it. I might just do that now.
To see if it can kind of stick in there.
At all, but I'm not going to hold out much hope for this one. Yeah, I can see it now. Can you hold that steady?
What? The...
Just the board?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you get there?
No, not yet. Need to cut that ball off the end of that. Okay, so it looks like it's on there. Let's see if I can attach a wire in any way, shape, or form at all. This is like that one scene in Ghost. The scene where Patrick Swayze was soldering a Dreamcast? I don't remember that scene.
It's the extended edition.
Oh, okay.
And wait, is Beej the ghost in this scenario?
Maybe we're both ghosts.
Diffusing bombs must really suck.
Mm-hmm. Especially for two people at the same time. Thank you, Corey.
Shit, ass, fuck. TOS. Okay, yep.
Am I gonna have to turn off your microphone?
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I've hit an end point here
Alright.
for my. Yeah, I.
At a certain point, you're doing more harm than good. I think if you put too much, you're tired and whatever.
Well, it's also a matter of what can I do right now, and I'm trying something that I don't even know if it's going to work.
Yeah.
Like at this point, what I need to do is see if there is a way to maybe file out a bit more of the side of the chip.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I don't have my files with me, and I'm not sure that it's. There's nothing more I can do here with this now. But
if hypothetically, you got like another copy of that chip to replace it, could you stack it on top again, or would you have to remove the other one?
I could remove this chip. It wouldn't be that difficult.
It'd take you 15 minutes.
It would, probably it would be annoying. What I'm going to propose here, and this is why I'm sitting back and humming and hawing, is I think I'm going to stick with what I said at the beginning of the show. This is the final episode of the Dreamcast, because we've been piling on this for a number of episodes, and you've seen the process, right? I've made this thing, which will eventually do something important, but I don't know if you need to watch me do this again by myself and need to have me doing it on a stream. So what I'm going to suggest doing is I'm going to take it home. I'm going to do it myself off camera, and I'm going to see if I can. And if it works, I'll let you all know.
That makes
Bring
a
it
lot
on
of
and-
sense. Yeah.
We can unleash it triumphant on a stream or something. That'd be cool.
Exactly. But you've all seen the process. You've all seen how it's supposed to work. I mean, here, this is what I would do with this bit. It would plug in thusly, except the other way probably. Oh no, it doesn't matter. You can plug it. It will go in one way or the other.
Oh, interesting.
You
But
just-
I imagine when it goes in, it has to go in the right way.
you want it to
because
go in that way. Yay, there we go. It
Yeah.
looks like that.
Cool.
And that would happen. But as
And
it's,
that would have this in between it, and then that whole thing just sticks up above here.
Yeah. But as it stands, this has been. I've done as much as I can here without having access to other tools and even knowing if it'll work. So,
Partial victory.
This reminds me of like when Dr. Frankenstein is making his monster, he decides to make it at like 1.5 size because putting the doing all the surgery on the veins is so hard.
That would be
That's why Frankenstein's monster is so big.
that would be super sensible.
He's just like, why don't I just make the whole guy bigger? That's
Yeah.
easy.
It's way simpler.
But thank you so much, everyone, for watching. It's been this has been a fun project. Hopefully, I'll get it done.
Yeah. I'm glad. I mean, we made it into stoppage time right now.
Oh yeah, we're definitely in stop mode.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you, as I said, so much for watching, and thank you so much, everyone, for all of your support that you've shown, either by just showing up in chat, being here, lurking in the chat, mashing that follow button, and those of you who support us on the Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, and especially those of you who help by subscribing here on Twitch. Paul, let's go over today's Twitch subscribers.
Yeah. Starting with
Our good friend is the Eagle, who is subscribed for 35 months, saying, yeah.
Take that again.
Isa the NG.
Thank you.
There we go. Isa the NG. Thank you so much.
And Ika Bork for 13 months. Welcome back, Ika Bork.
Thanks too much for 43 months. Now behold the true power of infinite minis.
Alice Mouse for 15 months. Some sort of numbers meme, I guess? Go forth and build all the things.
I'll try. Eric is a brand new subscriber. Welcome, Eric, and thank you for subscribing.
And thank you to Sir Skippy, who's also a new subscriber. Glad to have you here in the chat. We appreciate it.
Ice Light has subscribed for 17 months. Hopefully subbing now won't mean getting my fingernails removed.
Oh, now I know we're in the
fingernail
streaming
removal,
area.
yeah.
Okay. DSP Moo is back for the 19th month. Welcome back, DSP Moo.
It's Sir Octopus, who's subscribed for 20 months.
And Mr. Fixit's back for the 52nd month.
Whoa.
Everything went better than expected.
Mark Barks has subscribed for 13 months. At this point, the Dreamcast should be achieving basic sentience for all the work that's been done on it.
Oh, Nefarious Ned's back for 90 months. What? 30 months. What?
Mitty OB has subscribed for 15 months. Welcome, Mitty OB.
And Moral Bacteria back for the 19th month. Welcome back.
Thanks so much to Flannel Shirt Enthusiast, who has subscribed for 16 months. Dearest Doctors Ian and Beej, thank you for introducing me to the Yakuza series. I just pre-ordered Yakuza 0 on stream. Can't believe I was lucky enough to catch you both. I'm glad you were as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
T. Stodden has returned for the 54th month. 6th sub baby, for real this time, and counting. Thank you, T. Stodden.
Wow, that's great. Eastern Cave of Wonders, who subscribed for 13 months. That looks like my brain right now after trying to run D&D for the first time. Ever forward, never learning.
Sorry, Siri is looking up Eastern Wonders.
All right.
Why? I don't know.
I don't know what triggered that. Herbert Derp's back for a full year, 12 months. That's like a whole year, 12 months.
Lazy Monkey Man is a brand new subscriber. Welcome, Lazy Monkey Man, and thank you for subscribing.
And thank you to Apadraco, is back for their 17th month. That's a prime number.
Italuia. Wait, no, Italuia. Yeah, Italuia for 19 months. Thank you so much.
And thank you to Earthen One and Type 1 for the 251 bits. The bits.
And if they're still around, shout out to Grimjow91.
Oh, yeah.
Who is like, hey, who's that third guy who talks sometimes? Where do I know him from? Does he have a YouTube series? And apparently you're a fan of Unskippable.
Hey.
So welcome to the stream. We do lots of cool stuff.
Yes. Paul, we also have the straw poll for tonight.
Oh yeah, tonight's straw poll. It's a little different tonight in the sense that it's not all about you dying.
Oh, well, what a relief.
Yay.
So here we go. Welcome, friends and foes, to the finale of the Dreamcast saga. An event several streams in the making. Who will live? Who will die? tune in tonight. All right. And the answers that people gave, 8% said the Dreamcast realizes their true destiny, finally attains the power of flight just in time to blast through dark side and push Apocalypse away from Earth.
Wow.
17% say Ian completes the Dreamcast just in time to wake up from a dream where he's lying in bed and relays the entire story to his Sega Genesis before telling it she should wear more sweaters.
Neptunia reference, I guess.
19% says Ian rushes to the airport boarding desk hoping to catch the Dreamcast in time, but then it turns out the Dreamcast got off the plane because they love Ian.
Aww.
21% says right before the crew are overrun by super vampires, the Dreamcast medallion ignites in Ian's hands, blasting sunlight all over the army of undead. And the number one response with 35% says the Dreamcast, realizing that it was missing this entire time, manages to save the timeline and rejoins the N64, the Xbox, and the PS4 for a game of poker.
Perfect. We should have done this years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I don't know. You were always invited.
Yeah. Maybe you could have told me that once. Captain's log. I'm stuck in space with a bunch of dicks. Hey, thanks so much everyone for watching. It's been a hell of a run with the Dreamcast, but we'll be back in a fortnight with a brand new project of some sort. Who knows what it will be? I really should figure that out. Don't go away because we have to tell you about what's coming up next. Friday is tomorrow. That's the day when Now Kiss happens at 9:30 PDT. Kathleen is going to be playing Perfect Date, and hopefully they're going to be finishing that.
Yeah, it's Kathleen and Joe. Ooh. And we got the crap shoot. We're doing shooting crap shoot this week.
Yeah, we have to have some stuff written and then shoot it. Mm-hmm. And the one I've written so far is definitely not going to work.
Oh well.
Gotta come up with something else.
You can use the one I wrote.
Oh.
And then we got Magic Commander with it's going to be Ian and Corey and Graham and Kathleen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Doing some Commander while most of the Magic people are at the GP. Mm-hmm. And then we got Loading Ready Live.
Oh my god. Yes, we do. It's 6 p.m. on Saturday, which will then roll directly into the 24 Hours of Hormones.
Oh my goodness.
That is a poor life choice.
We're going to drive for a long time. Sadly, we couldn't make it work to have a drive along directly with Le Mans because that would have interfered with Loading Ready Live, and everybody loves Loading Ready Live, and we don't want to preempt that. But we're still going to do 24 hours. It's still going to start on the same day. It's good enough.
I like it's like instead of Loading Ready Live, it's just going to be Ian in a room.
Yeah.
That's the entire show this week.
I mean, that's what it was last year. But this year we've got more help. That's going to be great. Beej is going to be there. Paul is going to be there. Kathleen's going to be joining us as well to do a driving shift, as will Corey. So get ready for that. And then on Monday...
Because that does preempt Rhythm Cafe.
Yeah, it will be going through while Rhythm Cafe is happening.
Yes.
Maybe you can drive particularly rhythmically during that section. Yeah, there you go. And then on Monday we got Checkpoint Plus, which I believe will actually be a regular as Checkpoint ever gets. But this will be a chance or back to form for Checkpoint.
Ooh, excellent.
And then we'll have Dice Friends with our continuation of the Enigma of the Star Tunnels, the campaign with our good friend Dale as the DM using the Fate system. So, lots of cool stuff coming up.
Yeah. But for now, that's the end of our broadcast day. Thanks so much for joining us once again. As we always say, ever forward.
Never learning.